Welcome, everybody, to the Journeymen Lounge podcast.
You better be praying to God because, you're 14 and losses in a row. You're going to need Jesus.
Am I wrong?
I thought you were pretty wrong, yeah.
All right. Welcome to the Journeymen Lounge podcast.
Welcome.
Welcome back, back.
We haven't introduced
welcome
ourselves
back.
in a while, but I figure if you're with us through 74, you kind of know. I'm Woj. This is
I'm Fergie. No, I'm kidding.
Fergie.
I'm Ryan.
And you got Bobby to round
you got
things out.
Bobby. We've been churning along on the Journeymen Lounge ride. Football season just kind of came to an end.
Yep.
I mean, we still are kind of workshopping this paintball thing in terms of who to like kind of give it to. Like we said 100 and then this guy
didn't
hasn't
respond.
reached out.
Let's call it 150 then.
So yeah, let's reconvene at 150 and we'll see what's happening.
It just decided.
It is decided. But yeah, overall, dude, it's been some good shit. I do vow to get more Instagram clips up, so I do apologize. I've been a little lacking on those, but we're getting them churned out this weekend. But without further ado, let's just get into. I'll go first, man. I'm dejected of how the football season ended, but I'm hopeful for the future. So like the football season, Chiefs, Eagles, I don't care. I would have liked to seen a game. It was 36-6 or something like that, or 36-zip at one point.
Right.
It was great.
It was an absolute
It was
blowout.
incredible. I enjoyed every second.
I mean, I do always want to see the Chiefs go down now, but in terms of like an actual football game, it was over in the first 18 minutes, and I was like, okay, I'm in the city now. I was over at a buddy's place, so I was like, that sucks,
Were you with
man.
Snoop?
Yeah, it was Snoop, his family, Vince, shout out. A couple other people, Mark hosted, so that was dope. But it was those things of like, if I was just in my house and this game is over, I'm doing other shit. You know, I'm like, all right, I get some stuff done tonight.
But you hang out with your boys, so even if that's happening in the background.
I just kind of alluded to that of like the company was great. Mm-hmm. But then when you're watching something that I was like more interested in what was happening with the people, it just was more of a hangout at that point.
At that point it is.
But yeah,
we can talk a little bit about the commercials.
Well, go give your recap first of the game.
Loved seeing Philly and Cooper, DeJean, and Blankenship. And the defense just utterly what was it, 5-6 sacks, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. Philadelphia, I would say this, and I mentioned it to a colleague of mine who is based out of Philly, a big Philly fan. I said, I think that performance by their defense has got to be the top 5 defensive performances in a Super Bowl since Super Bowls, exist. Think about that.
I mean, Denver comes to mind.
Bears.
But
Bears.
three turnovers.
Ravens.
5 sacks and 6 points on pick.
I agree with you, Bobby, in saying like it's up there.
It's got to be.
I think we just rattled off like 3 of them that definitely
Bears,
were.
Ravens, Broncos, like about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
The Bears didn't play as well as Philly's D.
In the Super Bowl?
They lost.
The 85
The
Bears?
85 Bears,
I thought you were talking
jackass.
about your Bears.
No.
85
80 Bears are our Bears.
They're everyone's
Motherfucker.
Bears.
Well, you weren't
Fucker.
around or alive to see
It doesn't
them.
It doesn't. Okay, Bobby, were you around when the Packers
Yes.
won the fucking Super Bowl?
Yes.
In the 60s?
No.
When you still claim
Brett
those.
Favre and Aaron Rodgers won, and I was young and
Yes,
an
okay,
adult.
so Bobby, you technically can say,
So they're
hey, I've witnessed a Super Bowl win. You can say that.
And I'm an owner, so my team
and
won.
then
But
you
not
and then you
knowing.
just sound like an absolute clown
Yep, so-
with that statement.
But
But I'm just saying, though, it's the same logic. If you don't recognize that those are part of our Super Bowl history, then you can take 63 and 64 or whatever fucking years they won in the 60s.
Years 1 and 2, I think they
Yeah.
did.
So,
If
ipso facto,
if
man.
it's your team,
Kinda.
they're your Super Bowls, regardless of when you were born.
Irregardless.
They're your team.
So if it was like 1895 and you
Hell
were
yeah.
really
Yes.
okay. I just want to make sure.
It's my
Like
team.
30 years past Abraham Lincoln being
Hold on, I got
assassinated.
a real quick interjection because I just thought about this the other day.
That only work in baseball, but yes.
So
That's true.
the Bears, like franchise, like they've won, I don't know, like 18, 20,
Yeah, well, pre Super Bowl.
18 total championships prior to in like the Depression years and the fucking 30s and 40s and when they were the Decatur Staleys in the 20s and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I have a wild theory that one, yes, expansion, more teams wanted, more the country's developing more. I secretly think it's just more of like people got together and were like, we got to stop the fucking Bears from winning. We got to get more teams into this bitch. Like this every year because there was only six teams.
I get that.
Or something like that.
It's kind of like hockey started that way. There was like the original, what was it?
But I don't know if I don't know if the hockey. I'm sure there's one team. I know Montreal has definitely won a lot because they've been around for a long time. But I don't think hockey has one like clear. This is the guy. Same way that baseball has like the Yankees, right? Yankees have won like 27 championships or something.
Them
like
and
that.
St. Louis, I think, are the most storied winners.
But I was just throwing it out there. It's like it seems like they just were like, we got to stop the Bears from fucking winning.
It's a thought.
It is a thought. There you go.
No, well, now you have the owner passed away recently, so now
Virginia,
the kids are taking over ownership. Is that correct?
Yeah. There's some muddiness in the waters.
Is there? I didn't know.
Well, I'm just saying is like they have broken off a piece to like every grandchild.
Oh, so now it's
Virginia has a couple kids herself. I know Virginia has another brother. Funnily enough, I looked it up. So George Hallis's dude, George Hallis's brother, which I believe his name was Earl Hallis. I'm gonna double check that. Him and I have the same birthday. I looked it up and I was like, well, that's cool.
That's fun.
It means nothing. This guy had nothing to do with the Bears. He was like a businessman and shit. But I just I looked it up randomly because I'm looking into this stuff. But the whole like who's going to get the team, how that works out is going to be people buying out other people to get those majority shares. And then from there's a lot of like trust stuff and it's not. I know Sanoop was telling me a little bit just about the fact that he knows this process is very convoluted. A lot of different wheels spinning. It's not just like Virginia had one kid and goes,
no,
you are
I understand that. So like
owner.
I said, you're moving from towards almost like a board of director style ownership, right? I mean, everyone kind of has a chunk of the pie. They don't have the majority share.
Yeah, I also learned, though, when Snoop was explaining it, is that process for owning a major league team is fucking nuts. It is quite. So it was, I said Earl. It was Edward McCaskey, I believe.
Close.
But again, just a weird random fact that nobody gives a shit about. Okay, Ryan, back to you. What was your take of the most recent Super Bowl?
I thought it was great. Let me tell you. I was working during it, so we were busy as hell. So I didn't get to see. Oh, that's what I was going to get to. You see, you're burying the lead here.
I'm jumping the gun.
Jump and talk.
Normally say.
So yeah, I was. I was basically for the first till the first half, just slammed with work, orders up the ass. We're at a pizza place, so that's the
shout it out, man.
Old Town Pizza
for thousands of
Old Town Pizza. Check it out if you like Chicago pizza. And I say that I don't mean deep dish or whatever. We do have that, but I mean more of a traditional tavern style.
Yeah, yours. I like that, the tavern style.
We got all the styles, but
I can also verify. Very good. Very good.
Anyway, I was in a playoff pool. My boss, so the whole time. So you do a confidence every round. You pick the team, and then you get 16, 15. You guys know how it works.
Yeah, we know
so
the drill.
I was in it. I was in fourth going into the game, and the first three get money.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'm thinking they're going to take the Chiefs. I got nothing to lose. Take the Eagles because if they win, I come through with something. And if not, who cares? If I take the Chiefs, I can't pass them anyway.
You can't usurp them.
Right.
So took the Eagles, won $120.
120.
Came in second.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also want to thank in the second round, I was the only person who took the Commanders over the Lions, and that got me back into the pool after losing a couple games.
Ryan on the upset.
Yeah, that's right. So $120. So I had a great time watching them kick their ass. And then I got to see the halftime. And then that.
All right, so that's
about it. And then that's pretty much
Let's talk about the halftime. It was Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I enjoy a lot of his music. My only critique would be, and this is just more about Super Bowl halftime shows in general, I personally think that artists that are more like PG in their lyrics, that are universal, obviously it sounds better. Like there's a couple times where they just obviously they're not going to say the word in the actual
He
song.
had to edit himself.
So editing there on that stage, I'm like, this is the wrong time to edit. Like people want to see, like if you're going to do a song
like
with
leave it uncensored and run it.
explicit content and shit, you want to me I want the same. It's the same principle of like watching something on TV. Some movies I just was watching the last one back, Goodfellas. I can't watch it on TV anymore. I'll go and as soon as I see it, I'll be like, all right, I gotta flip this on and go do it. But it just it ruins for me. So to me, this Kendrick Lamar, I was like, it wasn't the greatest to me, but I do like his music in general.
I feel like, I mean, I'll just speak in general. For me, I liked it. I like Kendrick. I'm not like he's not my number one guy, but I think he's like probably
He's very
like
talented.
the last good rapper we have.
Yeah.
Or one of them. You know, that would compare to people that we might like growing up listening to.
Sure.
He has actually lyrics and content.
That's what I was going to drive at.
And ideas. I thought it was a cool show. I liked Samuel Jackson was there. I thought that was cool.
That was
Uncle
a great
Sam.
addition.
Uncle
That was
Sam.
a great addition.
He had like props and all the people moving around and making all the, you know, I'm sure there's like political messages and things that people have talked about. I don't really care about that. I just thought it was entertaining to watch all the choreography and the songs and Samuel Jackson. I didn't even notice at first Serena Williams' crypt walk. I thought
it was.
I didn't notice it was her. I just thought, I'm like, oh, who's this kind of hot chick? And then it was like, oh, it's Serena Williams. Like later on, I figured it out.
Well, I guess she did that at the Olympics, and that's why they reached out.
So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think though, like in general though, like he's more for like towards younger side
he's
of people.
More for
you
a concert,
let's say
venue
like
where he can say whatever the fuck he
35 and
wants.
under. You know, anybody over that, if they don't know him or don't know like his music, they're gonna be like, this is the worst halftime show. And that's how I feel like it is most times. If you don't like the person, then you're not gonna like the halftime show. But if you just take it for what it was as the performance and the choreography and all the things, I think it was solid. I don't think it was the best, but I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
What do you got,
reverberate
Bobby?
what you were saying. I think a lot of people, you know, in terms of excitement or in terms of flashiness, this doesn't compare to previous halftime Super Bowl, you know, events.
I mean, can you just throw out which
I would
one
throw
do you
out-
think is better?
I would throw out the one we were growing up with Britney Spears, Nelly,
Yeah, that one was
Aerosmith. I think NSYNC was in there. All were in it together. It was like 2000, 2001, or 99, somewhere in there.
and I think Red Hot Chili Peppers also were in one too.
the,
or Michael Jackson was in
I know a
one.
lot of people like the Prince one with the Bears had.
I was gonna say the Prince one. Was,
the
was
one-
pretty dope.
Prince was
the one from 2 years ago where they had Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Kendrick, 50 Cent was really good, I thought.
Yeah, 50 Cent. I wish he would have hit the gym a little bit for that one.
Of
but
course,
that's okay.
the infamous J-Lo, what's her name? Janet Jackson, Titty.
Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake.
NSYNC, right?
With
Oh,
Justin
yeah, no,
Timberlake.
JT.
So those come to mind. And I guess when we were, we wouldn't have been. I mean, we were like babies, but like the Michael Jackson,
we were like
Michael Jackson
yeah.
one,
We were like
92
babies.
or whatever,
Yeah, something like
91.
that,
yeah,
yeah.
Those what I would say.
But like you were saying, he's a lyricist. I enjoy his music because it focuses you to listen a little bit more rather than
In
But,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
just-
mumble rap,
He's-
and we don't need the
No,
examples.
he's
there,
got a
but we get
purpose
you.
when he's what he's
exactly.
doing,
So
yeah.
maybe it's like it evokes thought rather than hey, I just want to hear something that's familiar. So I really appreciate him as an artist. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I gotta say I was.
You know he's watching this.
I was
right
gonna, I
now.
gotta say,
hope he
well,
does.
I gotta say,
I hope Kendrick Lamar comes on our comments and is like, finally.
I was semi-surprised with there was a little more negative backlash
There was
toward
a
it than I
lot.
thought. I'm like, okay, like they were like, that was the worst. I thought it sucked. I'm like,
It'll-
really? I'm
It'll
like,
happen every year.
Yeah,
dude.
I know.
You
I just like,
can't trust those people.
if you don't like his music, you're not gonna like it. But was it really that bad of a show? I
No.
don't think
No,
so.
I
It's
think
not
it
like he
was
just
fine.
stood there and did nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like he put on a show. Yeah.
I mean, again, to me, it's my Super Bowl. Like in terms of again, my excitement for it was definitely on the lower side. So it had to have been a great, like an amazing halftime show for me to go like, wow, Super Bowl was great. So like I said, I was more on the lackluster side. I just want in the future Super Bowls, doesn't have to be the Bears. I just want newer teams to kind of come to prominence. Like I thought this was the Bills' year, dude. I thought
So
the
did I.
Bills were coming
I don't know if Bills
or
could
the
stop
Ravens.
that
The
machine.
Ravens
though.
or
Holy
the
shit.
Ravens though. They've been good for the last couple of years, and they just kept hitting that
I mean,
wall.
you got to think too
in the
that
playoffs.
the Bengals are coming at some point. They were obviously were in 2 years
If
ago.
their defense can stop a nosebleed,
Right,
the
yeah.
Bengals are dangerous.
Right, exactly. So
I'm just saying, if we could get those teams with like younger talent and the up like
Dude, the reality is Philly's still going to be Philly
Right.
next year.
I think Philly will. I think Philly will still be good.
I mean, you still got the Lions.
I
Probably.
think now there's no chance. There's no chance that tush push. It's going to be stopped at least a time or two.
I mean, I wouldn't have
Like-
a problem if they banned it. Honestly, I mean, didn't it used to be banned? I thought it did used to be banned.
I have no idea.
There were I think
Like that
conversations.
infamous Packers play in the '60s Super Bowl where the guy, I think Bart Starr sneaks in it, and there's a picture of the guy behind him, and he's like this. So it's showing he didn't push him in because it used to be like a rule where you couldn't do that.
I
or
think there
whatever.
was a rule, but you know what?
I mean, I don't care. It's not a big thing, but like if they really want to get rid of it, then fine, get rid of it. It wouldn't bother me. Like if they
Fair
got rid
enough.
of it.
Shoe fly, don't bother
You can still
me.
sneak it. You just can't push
Who
him
would
in.
have thought though?
you know?
Saquon doesn't get a touchdown.
Yeah, I think all of the fucking betters.
I think all the betters just lost that bet.
Dude, I mean,
because-
I had him on the low number, like 90 for him was like the lowest
and
option.
yeah, he stayed. What
and he had
stayed
like 58.
like what?
Like,
I know
again,
it was more
good-
than that. I think it was like
Honestly,
60.
that is one shining part of this. Is like I am so glad that Saquon got a championship
Oh, hell yeah.
immediately after
Thank
leaving
you,
the Giants.
New York.
Is this
Like,
the Giants' worst year ever?
He's just doing one of these to the fucking state of New York.
I know Philly fans, they don't know how to spell Eagles, most of them.
Oh,
So
dude,
it's
there's
funny.
so
God,
many
yeah.
But then
videos.
they win and they totally destroy and they're right. There's like cop cars slipped over or like traffic pulls down like glass.
I saw
It's very
perfect,
Dallas-esque
saw a perfect meme
from the Dallas Stars, you know.
But I saw a perfect meme to explain the Eagles aftermath. They're like, you don't know if they won or lost.
Right, exactly.
After the fucking thing. It's like they destroyed that fucking city.
I also just thought it was funny and kind of awesome, although it sucks for her, but that Taylor Swift got booed by the entire
I
stadium.
love that. I loved every
And she like
moment of
looks
that.
over like that meme you guys said.
Yeah,
like,
the meme of the
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, we don't like you. Can show you.
we'll
we're-
paste
well,
the meme in.
We're sick of it. I know it's not like her doing like necessarily like she's just going to watch the game with her boyfriend and
But yeah, she brought her whole
Whatever.
groupie.
If
you
I'm
know.
being honest, man, the thing that makes me upset about the situation is that her presence there takes away from football.
Thank you. That's
in
all
the-
it is.
In the sense also that like your relationship, like the people that you're dating, like yes, it's fine to like mention them. I think that's a natural part of like this is a telecast. They're trying to get people to enjoy it. But when you got that those people going into it, and then you had like Chris Collinsworth and who was the fucking other guy with him now, Tarico, like they were discussing it for multiple minutes, and it's just like, we don't want to hear about this. I would
Yeah.
rather hear you talk about the game because that's why I'm watching this fucking program.
Kelsey 0 for 2, 0 yards.
if you want to do like a
Like,
quick
nothing.
flash to her or something.
You mentioned it in
Yeah.
passing.
Well, and didn't Tony
fine.
Parker date Ava Mendez or whom I think?
Longoria.
Well, and you
Ava
got
Longoria. But it's like I'm wondering, similar situation. Someone has a famous,
Tony
girlfriend.
Romo, Jessica Simpson
But
was big.
I
back
don't
in the
remember
day.
it being like, okay, obviously there's some, popularity with both of those, but it's like they never panned to them and like, all right, let's have a nice 2-minute discussion on why
If I'm
they're
being
here.
honest, I think they're trying to just attract the younger generation. The
Whatever.
people.
I don't want.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's right. He's
don't-
right.
Don't
You're
say
right, though. No,
I'm right.
I know,
but
but it
it's
just
it's
hurts.
annoying. I'm on
It
the same
hurts.
wavelength as you because there's people that I don't know. It's fake, but there's been like there are these like memes of people like wives and going up to their husband like, Taylor Swift's boyfriend's playing today, right? Instead of like Travis Kelce's playing, and it's just like it's a joke. But
Yeah.
even that, I was like, this is fucking so annoying.
It's rough.
See all that shit.
But they don't care. They want fans, like you said, so they'll do whatever.
It's about that money.
But Mahomes, he's definitely out of the conversation of greatest of all time with
Oh,
all the turnovers,
mean,
his lackluster
I
offensive
disagree
performance.
with that.
I think it's too early to make a
Yeah.
call. If he makes back to a couple Super Bowls, this is my definition of the GOAT when it comes to football is that Brady's got 7 and nobody is within 3 as a player. I don't think anybody's within 3. I think Bradshaw's got 4. Like as again a prominent guy, the guy who was the
But
leader
I'm
of
saying
that team.
You saw with those turnovers, he already has more turnovers than Brady ever had in all,
I mean, Brady in the playoffs, man, you can't deny.
Brady in the playoffs,
he balled
man.
out
You
the
hate
majority,
him,
and then guess what? When he didn't have a good year, his defense came to play and then fucked people up.
I think he's gone down a little bit as far as like people and the Tom Brady thing, but I still think by the end of his career, he's going to be right there in the conversation.
Oh,
he's still
Hall
young,
of Famer, for sure.
No, I mean just as the GOAT though, I'm saying like he could get more too. He could get more championships. Now, will people probably say that? I don't know. I'm just saying, but it's possible. I wouldn't rule it out.
I'm just saying this already has a feel of like I'm going to use MJ equivalent to Brady, and he's LeBron.
Well,
that's how it's starting to feel. That's all I'm saying.
If I could counter,
sure.
Championships, while yes, they are important, the amount of them is important. It's not necessarily always the deciding thing. Like Bill Russell is more than Michael Jordan, but people don't say necessarily like Bill.
You're right. People
Michael
should
Jordan,
be talking a little bit about Bill Russell.
Or I'm just saying like. It does matter. It does. Like
no, I think it adds volume.
It's a cumulative
to your argument.
factor. There's a lot of there's
give
multiple factors.
Yeah,
I think there's people fall into two camps very often. Where, as you said, Ryan, it's an accumulation of your stats and what did you do in those games that mattered, because that's what it is about. And I think that's why MJ honestly has the edge, is that when the game is on the line, man, you don't want the ball in anybody else's hands, and that's where that equivalency to Brady kind of comes in as well. If the game's on the line, man, I want Brady running the 2-minute drill.
Oh, hell yeah.
And fucking getting that done.
Let's just say, for hypothetical, by the end of his career, so Brady has 7. Let's say Mahomes has 5.
MVP of all of them.
And he has better stats than Brady statistically. Maybe you have more of an argument for some people where it's like, okay, he does have 2 less, but he's got so-and-so, touchdowns and this and that, and who knows? I'm just saying it's possible.
No, you're right. That's a conversation. That's a real conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's too early to make a call on him, but he is definitely like, he's made a lot to the Super Bowl a lot, which is great. If he ends up getting help, he's still running for his life a real time. I mean, this is the thing about that Chiefs team, is that they weren't suited to win the Super Bowl. They got lucky, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. Is like, you got lucky a lot getting up to there, and you probably should have made it in because your division is pretty weak, but you probably should have got stomped out by another team prior to that.
If you think about it, the whole thing with them is like, on paper, the Eagles have a way better team going into the game, but somehow the Chiefs always just seem to win. So
they always find a way.
That's kind of like where you're going. It's like, okay, on paper they don't have it, but they figure it out and they'll win.
You know what killed me though? You have DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm in a few different squares, and if he would have dropped that final 2-point conversion that didn't mean anything, I would have won $1,000.
What is that? Would have been 0-0?
Yeah, it would have ended 0-0, and I had 0-0 as one of mine. And I was like, God, like they didn't need it. Just drop it. He dropped another pass earlier in the game. Who gives a shit? This game's over.
Damn,
I thought, did they bring in their backups?
No.
I wish they would have. That would have been such a statement where it's like, hey, second string, get out there, play some Super Bowl time.
They're not going to do that in the Super Bowl.
I would.
That's Bush League.
But I also like that they ran up the score. They were up 20, I think, like 4.
They ran it up, and the Eagles let them score probably a little bit too.
But that one touchdown where it was like, hey, I'm throwing up to 8, or like that big pass.
Yeah.
That was such a stab, because they're already up by 3 possessions.
I think the Eagles kind of let off the gas a little bit too. And that play, I think maybe if there was
fourth quarter, they
a tighter game, they might have been trying to fuck with the receiver more, and trying to get their hand. I think they kind of were like, all right, don't get a penalty.
No, I know that. I'm saying by fourth quarter, I would have, if I was coach, the last like 2 to 3 minutes, second string guys, get out there. It doesn't matter.
You got like a 30-point lead, 25-point lead with like 4 minutes. I think you should be good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Well, that's Super Bowl. I will admit that in the next year, if this is the same matchup next year somehow,
it could be.
I'm gonna have the same level of enthusiasm.
No, I wouldn't either.
I want new blood in there, and when that happens, I'll be more excited about it. We'll probably do some more. Like last year, we did the playoff bracket thing or whatever, but I think it was just kind of
I don't think we did that well. We got to do that next year. You're right.
I'm just saying the enthusiasm across the board was like, Ryan's like, I'm working. If you didn't win money, you just kind of would have been like, fuck it.
No, I was just happy to win money. Like I said, yeah, right. It was, and if I was thinking too, if I had picked the week before, if I was in contention already, I probably would have picked the Chiefs. It's a good thing I actually lost the one game the week before and went with the Bills over to the Chiefs, because then I ended up winning the money. I was close enough to still get something by going with the Eagles.
Hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Glad for you. let's cut it here and let's get right into the Departed movie review. This was
Scorsese number 2 now.
This was Bobby's
The
pick.
Departed.
The
So
Departed.
let's cut it. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back.
Welcome back, Journeymen Lounge podcast listeners. We appreciate your tenure, and we're about to dive into Martin Scorsese's 2006 movie, The Departed. This came out October 6th of that year. I'm going to do a quick background of the film and just some notes, and then we'll kind of get into it a little bit, all right? So let me just kind of rattle off some information for everyone, and then we'll get started.
Well, I would just say, just to like to add, this continues our Scorsese.
Yes.
Trifecta.
Month, whatever, a few weeks.
We're going to say trifecta.
It's only 3 of us.
Trifecta, I like that.
So, yeah.
So this had a budget of $90 million and made $132 million in the U.S. alone and $291 million worldwide. This is loosely based on Whitey Bulger and the Winter Hill Gang. They got huge cast of just incredible actors, actresses, and quite a bit of, I would say, a music that like comes right to the front.
Some good soundtracks.
Some good soundtracks to this. Had 4 Best Picture, Best Directing, Best Writing, and Film Editing for an Academy Award. So that was a quick pass.
Can I also add that
Yep.
it's a remake of the 2002 Hong Kong film Internal Affairs?
Right, that was a fact that we learned, I think, just recently on the IMDb.
You guys didn't know that?
Walkthrough. No, I didn't know.
I
that.
did not know that.
Okay.
All right,
more
so
you know.
I guess how old are you when this? What's your experience with this movie? How old were you when you saw this?
Oh, this is
Me or Woj?
Let's start with Woj. Go ahead.
I mean, this is prime in the slot. I would have been like 15, and this is right at the age where like you start going seeing, because like when we were younger, I think to see an R-rated movie you could be 17 technically or something like that.
I think you still can.
But I'm saying it was like 17 or like with a parent or something like that.
I think 16 with a parent, 17 alone. I don't know.
No, it's with a parent, no age. You could take an infant.
No,
to see
I
The
get that.
Departed.
I'm just all right.
But I'm saying 17 was like the line of like, okay, if you're there and if you're close to 17 or like if we went in the middle of the day, they're not checking IDs. They're just going, whatever, it's fine. We don't need to see it. So this is just like right in that prime era of like me and probably my friends going to see this one.
Right.
And it's like blood and killing and like all these crazy fucking things and, violence and stuff like that. So it's pretty dope to see like those movies when you're like, all right, we can fucking go on our own. Like this is dope.
I was going to ask you a question. When you saw this, do you remember, had you already seen Goodfellas or not before you saw this?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I'm just curious. So, my turn. Yeah, well, this came out in 06. I did not see it till years later. I don't know. For some reason, this missed my movie watching when
I'm
it came
surprised by that, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Like,
No, don't be surprised
No,
with this
'cause-
fucking guy over here.
well, like, I mean, like,
Hold on, do you want to tell him or do I?
What?
Ryan is like one of the most, like, with it, movie critics, has seen so many movies. His collection is vast. And then you'll throw out one or like, oh, you seen this one? Like, what was The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Up until
Yeah.
a little bit ago. He's like,
Did you even watch it yet?
No, I
or
haven't. I've been saving it. I've been waiting.
but I'm just saying it's like stuff like that where I'm like, how have you missed
I
The
got some
Rock?
blind spots.
Blind spots, yeah.
Sure.
But like such a great cinephile.
Well, you know what? Like,
there's just
here's
like,
the thing. Like, growing up, I was always into movies and television, and like, but I wasn't into like every type of movie. Like, it was certain kinds.
Right. Yeah.
And then my taste or whatever expanded and grew, and I started watching more and more movies and like appreciating films more for like, acting and cinematography and other things that I didn't do initially. Like, I always liked them, but the degree to which I liked them and appreciated them grew more
right.
the older I got, I would say, especially like post high school, maybe college, post college even. So for me, like, I don't think I saw this, I don't know, like to like maybe like 20 something, 14, 15, I don't know, like a while after it came out. Mm-hmm. It's never been like, for me, honestly, like a go-to. Like I like it. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I do like it, and there's like things that like you would think like I would love this movie, right? Like it's Scorsese. It's got violence. It's got
Yeah, I thought this
cops.
was right up your alley.
Right,
Yeah.
like, and I don't dislike it, but it's not like a go-to for me. Like, I wouldn't say,
Interesting.
it's-
Okay, because I think Woj said it's definitely a go-to.
Right,
For him.
I do
Some
know
of
that with him.
Top 5 or something.
Yeah,
Scorsese.
but I do enjoy it. I love Scorsese. So I think in my lifetime I've only seen this movie maybe like 4 times. It's like the 4th time. I
Okay,
watched
so this
it.
is actually with a fresh set of eyes
yeah,
almost. Yeah. I saw this, like I said, it came out in 06. I graduated 06 from high school, so I'm dating myself a little bit here. But I remember catching this over winter break at the theaters, and I really, it blew. I think it blew a lot of standards out of the water at that time. 06 had Blood Diamond too. That was right around the same time, but this one I think it definitely took top marker. It was an incredible movie, so that's why we chose it. With Scorsese, I was going to do The Color of Money, but if you get a chance, go check that one out too. You got Paul Newman. All right, so do we jump into it real quick? Scenes, or do you guys want to talk a
I don't
little
know. Is there
bit?
anything else you want to like talk about, like that? What maybe like what you like about the movie, or
All right.
or I don't know, or whatever. It's your pod, dude.
No. I want to really get into scenes because I think this movie is one giant scene after another. I think there isn't a real slow point that you could really call out.
Did you talk about the cast at all? Like who's in the movie?
Yeah, you know what? Let me knock out the cast real quick.
Yeah.
So we got Vera, and I always pronounce her last name
Farmiga.
wrong. Farmiga.
Farmiga.
I mean, you put a little English on it, but that's cool.
Jack Nicholson has Frank. I'll go over names and who they are. So Vera plays Dr. Madeline Madden. Jack Nicholson is Frank Costello. Leo DiCaprio is Billy Costigan Jr. Matt Damon is Colin Sullivan. Mark Wahlberg is Sergeant Diggum. Martin Sheen is Captain Queenan. Ray Winstone is Mr. French. Alec Baldwin is Captain Ellerby. Kristen Dalton is Gwen. Mark Rolston is Delahunt. James Badge Dale is Barrington. Or not Barrington, Berrigan. Anthony Anderson is Detective Brown. David O'Hara is Fitzy. And Kevin, this is funny, Corrigan is Sean Costigan. So really close names with that one. So, look at that cast. Look at that lineup. That's like the 95 Yankees. It's incredible.
Here's a good cast.
Great casting. So yeah, I guess before we go into scenes, maybe one or two, like if you guys want to just bring me up to speed, maybe your favorite actors, actresses out of that list that I just rambled off. Maybe one who's a shine and one who's just low key, like stole the show.
Okay.
You want to start us off?
I just think it's awesome that you get to see Leo and Matt Damon going up head to head in a movie at kind of like in some, I don't know if it's their primes, but still like they're, in it, I guess. Like they're very prominent.
Yeah.
So I would say, I'd argue they're at least in the prime. And like I said, and it rounds out with great other supporting actors, like you said. As far as like who I like the best, I think I love Mark Wahlberg the best in this movie. He's my favorite. I think he does the really good job. He's obviously he's from Boston. He does the accent really well.
It's like a glove.
He portrays the character to a T of like, this is a dick asshole, give no shits sergeant, or whatever, get the job done kind of thing. I think he's really great. I would say he's my favorite. And then, like, I guess if I had to pick another guy who's...
I'd say low-key, someone who maybe like, hey, you know what? He stole this scene. He might not have been as prominent.
I mean, I don't know if he's kind of prominent, but I'd say Alec Baldwin.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
And one scene I'll bring up later. I'll talk about which
we'll
one.
get into that. What about you, Woj?
I mean, Jack Nicholson, man. He's a phenomenal actor. And when we were talking about it earlier, I kind of classify Nicholson as having kind of like two phases. There's like the early years, The Shining, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, as Bobby said, and like his younger years that he's doing, like, again, phenomenal acting, but they're very like different
cast type.
I mean, just they're all over the place. Like he's always playing like a fucking great person, and then you kind of have the later years where like I feel like those are kind of more of my favorite, where he's like a little bit more unhinged
and a little gritty,
and he's like just overall like he's kind of just like a Lothario type older guy in a lot of his movies, which I'm like, I love it. He's just like, you know.
I think you got like you were saying, to piggyback off of you got like early like 70s Nicholson, like early 80s Nicholson, and then like you got like, let's say like Batman and on, where he's like kind of like more of a Hollywood icon. He's a bigger name. He's an older actor. You got,
You're right.
Like Batman,
there's two phases of him.
A Few Good Men. You know, which is a Eastwick, as good as it gets, like that.
I liked him in, what was that, Anger Management? That was funny as hell.
Right, like he's kind of like more, like he's a little more, you know, different in his roles, I guess.
But he mentioned it, a little more unhinged, more just kind of, you know, fringe, off the cuff type of response. But I bet they allowed him to, even as a writer. I'd be like, you know what, kind of play to the scene. We'll give you a general guideline, but, you know, go with kind of what you feel sometimes.
Yeah.
I bet they give him a lot of freedom to do that.
I would definitely.
And actually, I know that to be a fact. And we're going to go into one of the scenes eventually when we open it up. But I really want to just say that I really enjoyed Martin Sheen's character. Like, yes, Nicholson will be I think my favorite in this whole thing, and Wahlberg does an incredible. But Martin Sheen, I think he provided what you needed out of Queen, and I really thought that he enveloped the role perfectly. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I really wouldn't see. They did consider De Niro for Queenan's role, and I was like, it just didn't have the same feel. It didn't have the right touch for me, you know. And I think me and Woj were talking about that a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I have more on the castings we could talk about later, but yeah, that is one of them for sure.
And you know what? Let's give it up to Vera playing, you know, the love interest. She did a great job. I think she did a great job in terms of connecting the characters, and it felt like real, I guess. You know, some of these scenes were a little bit more challenging, I'm assuming, as an actress to go through, and I think she did a good job.
I partially agree.
But, you know, like I said, there's such a great cast here, too. And, you know, I guess, a shout out. I like Fitzy, too.
I was going to
Come on, let's give Fitzy some love.
I was going to put Fitzy, or you already mentioned Alec Baldwin. It's kind of like the under.
Yep.
He just is like that real guttural, like he sounds kind of almost like European in a sense, like in terms of like like it's Irish, but it's like almost like old Irish type of thing where you're like you can barely sometimes need subtitles. You're going.
I was just gonna say I think we remiss if we didn't mention Ray Winstone.
Mr. French.
Mr. French.
He's really great in this movie.
There's so many great, like I said, this whole cast, you know, put them up. All right, let's go into it. Let's do some scenes. And, guys, as you're watching, if we get to a scene, we might be doing a table read all the same. So be prepared, or maybe do we kick off right away with a table read? Your thoughts, or maybe I'll kick it over to Woj.
We'll go through a couple scenes.
We'll go through a few scenes then.
Let me.
Go ahead, get us started.
I like the intro with introducing Jack Nicholson's character Frank meeting a young Colin at
and Gwen is there too,
the diner or whatever. So he's kind of like shaking him down, the owner of it, but then he's planting the seed with Colin where he's giving him like comic books and food for his family, and like it's kind of setting up where he's putting his hooks in them.
Right, he's investing in
later on he's going to pay off to where he becomes a cop, but he's working secretly for Frank, you know.
Right.
And I don't know if it's part of it or not, but the whole, are we talking like pre-credit? If we're doing just like pre-credits, like the whole juxtaposition of him and Leo both going through the processes of the police academy.
Yeah, the police academy training, that was pretty good. Especially that conversation with Leo and Brown, or Detective Brown, that was funny.
Yes.
Not so much of a scene, but just their opening with "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones I like them coming out to that. So it's a good song to kind of get your blood going. Of
yes,
hey, we're fucking in it.
Scorsese's third time using it.
I mean, again, it's not. I'm not going to associate Scorsese with it, but like you can. Just kind of get amped up for the movie, like, oh shit.
I associate Goodfellas with it every time I hear it, personally for me.
Okay.
But it was also in Casino and in this as well.
Right, yeah.
You know what? Yeah, he's dabbled on that same track a lot. Who cares?
Yeah. I don't know if this is before the credits or not, but I love the Matt Damon and the police playing the rugby against the firemen.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
That quote. Just go ahead with the quote.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, go ahead with it. It's right there.
And we'll just throw it out there that we're just quoted. This movie is definitely
highly quotable.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. I was saying it invokes a lot of certain language and some N-bombs and some slurs.
So this is going to be
stuff.
not a
just letting people know this is just a quote.
Yeah, this is not my personal
not
views or
Ryan's
anything.
personal view. Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck you, fucking queers. Firemen getting pussy for the first time in the history of fire or pussy. Hey, go save a kid in a tree, you fucking homos. And then later he's talking to James Badge Dale, and then he's like, "What's wrong, man? What's wrong?" He's like, "Fucking firefighters, a bunch of homos."
Yeah, he's really the firefighter police.
And Mark Wahlberg does, but Matt Damon is like really, obviously he's from Boston, so he nails the Boston accent in this movie. Him and Wahlberg, I think, are the best at doing the Boston guys in this movie for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Which they should be because they're from there. So
I mean, Alec Baldwin is definitely doing a little bit more of like
he's doing like Long Island,
JFK.
Yeah, he does sound.
To me, he kind of sounds like he's tapping into like Along Came Polly, like Ruben's boss, like good things, but he's going a little harder with it, you know.
A little bit off from his 30 Rock maybe performance, but
I don't have anything before we get to the first table read. I don't know if you.
Yeah, no, that was all I wanted.
For one quote though, I know we'll eventually tab in, but I like the quote how this movie starts off. I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Yeah, it's cool.
And like kind of that walkthrough with Jack Nicholson speaking, that I thought that was just an incredible way to start a movie.
Yes. Did you? I'm sorry, I might have blacked out when you were explaining the movie. Did you explain?
I didn't even get the
premise of the movie.
No, sorry. Apologies. This is on me.
Kind of important to know,
right?
Yeah.
So I guess this is already almost 20 years in the making.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert.
Okay, you should have first seen the movie, but even without seeing the movie, you can kind of just tell it's about a cop in Boston and go from there.
Right. So you got Colin. Colin Sullivan, who's got
He's Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, and you have Jack Nicholson as
Frank Costello.
Frank Costello. Now, Frank invests, like I said, in Colin at a young age to kind of get his, just get him on his good side because the kid's smart, he's intelligent, and he'll be able to get him out of a jam later. Meanwhile, you have a character like Leo, who comes from a very troubled family lineage, who's also training to become a police officer, goes to the academy, state, you got state qualified. And then in the meantime, you have a bunch of other characters like Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Alec Baldwin. So the synopsis of this movie is you have a rat within Costigan's crew, or sorry, not Costigan's, Costello's crew, and a rat in the Boston PD. And they're basically trying to find one another, and it comes to a disastrous end.
So yeah, Matt Damon's working for Jack Nicholson. He's becoming a cop and reporting back to Jack Nicholson.
He's a sergeant in in the special investigation,
Boston State Police. And meanwhile, Leo, whose family has, like you said, some shady mobster
history,
connections. Not him personally, but his family, like his uncle and stuff.
His uncle, yep.
He tries out to be a police officer as well, but he gets flagged by the Martin Sheen and Diggum, and they're like, "Well, you can be a straight trooper, but you'll never advance past this point. But if you want to, we'll make you
use in a different.
We'll
fashion.
use in a different fashion. Well, you're going to be a rat. You're going to join Costigan's crew. I'm sorry, Costigan. We're going to join Costello's crew and report back to us. So the mob is a rat, and the police have a rat, both working, for their people.
Right. What a tangled web.
There's two rats, and they don't know who's who and who's the rat.
It all comes to peak.
I just would also mention here that there's this huge deal for microchip
processors
that Costello is trying to get his hands on. And then, he's making this big deal. That's how the movie kind of climaxes, is with a huge shootout at a warehouse.
So the police are trying to figure out how to shut down Costello using Leo's character.
And Costello's using his resources.
Using Matt Damon in the police department to
shield himself.
Get the heads up and figure out how you can avoid prosecution and whatnot.
Right, and this is all during a time where the Irish and Italians were vying for position in Boston.
Yes.
The mob was prevalent. That's why you have people from Providence, which is Rhode Island.
Providence.
Trying to lay down their claim in Boston. So this brings us to our first table read, and this is the interview, and we're all familiar with this. If you get a chance, you can YouTube it. But we're going to go over the interview. I'm going to be queening. We got, who's Billy?
I'm Billy.
I'm Diggum. So basically I would just say that Leo's character is interviewing with Martin Sheen, who's what is he, like a captain?
He's a captain. Works a different division.
And Diggum, and they're head of like a special undercover cop force.
Ellerby's his colleague, yeah. So Ellerby and him are captains.
They're interviewing Leo, just and telling him like that. Basically, what we just said before, that you're going to work with us. This is how you're going to do it. We're going to put you undercover as a criminal. No one will know you're a cop except us.
And it helps also, I would mention that Costigan has the family ties.
Yes.
And then they put him in jail. They then give him a record so that he can.
And then he goes to meet with his cousin, does drug deals to
basically make sure
to establish himself as a criminal.
He's off the radar for someone who might be a police officer. So.
Right. And they also go through some scenes of breaking him in to make sure he's not a co-op.
Sure.
All right, let's do the table.
All right, I'm Oliver Queenan. We got Billy and Dingham. All right. Do you know what we do here? My section.
Sir, yes, sir. I have an idea.
Whoa. Let's say you have no idea and leave it at that, okay? No idea. Zip. None. If you had any idea of what we do, we would not be good at what we do. Now, would we? We would be cunts. You calling us cunts?
Staff Sergeant Dignam has a style of his own. I'm afraid we all have to get used to it.
So you have you have family connections down in Southie, right? Through your father? Why don't you tell us about your Uncle Jackie?
He was a cop at Leia for Jordan Marsh.
Uncle Jackie was a small-town bookie who tended bar at the vets in Somerville. He got popped by Nick Castro in 95. We found his body up by the airport.
That's right. I remember his funeral.
Oh, good. Closed casket?
That's right.
So tell anyone up at Deerfield that this is before you got kicked out for wailing on a gym teacher with a folding chair. He had an uncle who met his demise like that. I got a question. How fucked up are you? Family's all criminals except for the old man, huh?
And one priest, since you seem to know everything.
Last I heard, he was happily married to a 12-year-old boy living on the beach of Thailand. Your fucking family's dug into Southie projects like ticks. 3-decker men at best. You, however, grew up on the North Shore, huh? Well, la-di fucking da. You were kind of a double kid, I bet, right? Huh? One kid with the old man, one kid with your mother. You're upper middle class during the weeks. Then you're doping your eyes. Then you're dropping your eyes and hanging out in the big bad Southie projects with your daddy, the fucking donkey on the weekends. I got that right? Oh, it's me again.
Billy doesn't answer. He just sits there dumbfuddled.
Yup. You have different accents. You did, didn't you? You little fucking snake. You were like different people.
You a psychiatrist?
Well, if I was, I'd ask you why you're a statey making $30,000 a year, and I think if I was Sigmund fucking Freud, I wouldn't get an answer. So tell me, what's a lace curtain motherfucker like you doing in the States?
Families are always rising or falling in America. Am I right?
Who said that?
Hawthorne.
What's the matter, smart ass? You don't know any of fucking Shakespeare?
The interview continues, and this kind of leads into Queenan now following up on this conversation. So continuing the table read, we have a question. Do you want to be a cop or do you want to appear to be a cop? It's an honest question. A lot of guys just want to appear to be cops, gun, badge, pretend they're on TV.
Yeah, a lot of people just want to slam a fucking head through a plate glass. Oh,
it's a bad word.
Slam a blank through a head through a plate glass window.
I'm all set without your own personal job application. All right, Sergeant?
What the fuck did you say to me, trainee?
With all due respect, sir, what do you want from me?
Hey, asshole, he can't help you. I know what you are, okay? I know what you are, and I know what you're not. I'm the best friend you have on the face of the earth, and I'm not going to help you understand something, you punk. You're no fucking cop.
Oh, that was good.
That was a good one.
Oh, that was a long one for you, so I appreciate you doing Diggum. That was a hell of a roll.
So as we move on from that scene, I'll get into just the kind of initiation into the crew. Not initiation, but like how Costigan, I think, kind of gets on the radar is he's hanging out at this bar. Like again, like Ryan said,
he goes to jail for battery or armed.
Right, I'm talking after the
after he's out,
and after he's out, he's dealing drugs with his cousin, and then he gets into this bar with these mafia and Costello and his crew and all that stuff hang out at this bar, and he's up at the bar and he's like, "Can I get a cranberry juice?" And the guy next to him is like, cranberry juice is a diuretic. My girlfriend drinks it when she's on her period.
Are we doing it? Are we going right into the
is
table
that the
read?
scene?
Yeah, it's a scene number
That's
5.
one of our scenes.
Do
Unless
5.
you want to go through
No, do
No,
5.
number 5.
let's go through a scene. I am going to be Mr. French. You're Woj is going to be Billy, and you're going to be the bar regular.
Well, I thought Woj is the regular.
I'm the regular.
So, yeah, Woj said he's the regular.
Then you're Billy. Okay. And I'll
right,
be
here we
Mr.
go.
French.
Cranberry juice.
It's a natural diuretic. My girlfriend drinks it when she's got her period. What do you got your period?
Yeah.
So he just smashes his glass and then
And now
I think
Mr.
he
French,
throws a couple.
yeah, Mr. French comes out, holds him against the wall, and Billy keeps pushing his hands away.
Get your fucking hand. And then like Mark Wahlberg. He's like
Yeah.
he does a Boston.
Billy
It's not
it's
as hard. It's like
very like
it's hard to do.
get your fucking hands off.
It's a different tone, yeah.
Get your fucking hands off me.
Hey. Do you know me?
No.
Well, I'm the guy that tells you there are guys you can hit and there are guys that you can't. Now, he's not quite a guy you can't hit, but it's almost a guy you can't hit. So I'm going to make a fucking ruling on this right now. You don't fucking hit him. You understand?
Yeah, excellent. Fine.
I fucking know you. I know your family. You make one more drug deal with that idiot fucking cop magnate of a cousin of yours, I'll forget your grandmother was so nice to me. I'll cut your fucking nuts off. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do.
So what are you drinking?
Cranberry juice.
What is it? Your period? Get him a fucking cranberry juice. Hey, fuckhead, that's Jackie's nephew.
Oh.
What? Oh, fucking what? Proceeds to beat the shit out of the regular.
He throws like
He throws four
punches.
fucking, haymakers. Now get the fuck out of here. There you go.
I just like it. It sets him up to get like kind of into the crew.
Yeah.
They know that he's fucking a little wild and
this is also another movie that I don't know, maybe he has Scorsese where someone gets hit over the head with a bottle or a glass or
Yeah, it happened in the Goodfellas too. Yeah,
happened in this, happened by many of his movies, so it's a good
Casino. There's a different thing that he hit. but
yeah,
again,
there's always
same
someone getting
basically.
hit on the head with a glass of something.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, just for the record, yeah, Leo in this movie, like, he doesn't exactly do a Boston accent. Sometimes
It's
he
like
does.
an attempted
Sometimes he
Boston
doesn't.
accent.
I have a picky nit about
So do I.
accents and stuff like that.
I do
so
too.
we'll get to that in a little bit. But
if you're wondering why I'm like, I don't know how to exactly.
it's softer. He definitely plays it down
Like Mark
a lot.
Wahlberg goes hard into it,
Right, and
so does
Dude, that's
Damon.
like him like diving into it. Like he knows that character. He grew up that character.
Leo's kind of like half in, half out sometimes, and sometimes not at all.
You're right.
or
I
it's,
get. Let's go through a few different other scenes, and I think we have one more table read probably that we'll naturally get to. But one scene that I enjoyed, and like I said, I think it was just kind of the introduction of the love interest, but the whole conversation that was had in the elevator between Dr.
Sullivan and Madeline.
Yeah, exactly.
flirting.
He's like, I'll fucking stab someone today if it means.
Oh yeah, and
Get out, dude.
He's like, sorry. He's like, do you need my car? He's like, no, I'm a detective. Actually, no, I'm gonna need that car. man.
Yeah, that whole back and forth, I thought that was really natural.
I wrote a comment down here that I think it works well for the story. It progresses along, like it shows Sullivan trying to like lead this like double life.
Right.
But then again, it works in that it's like it's not overbearing. It's an integral to the story, but I don't feel like why would you do like this scene again or another scene with the love interest where it doesn't progress the story. So I think they obviously did that very well. Again, my feelings on Vera Farmiga in this movie, I could take her or leave her. I could, probably
We'll
get
do a
somebody
casting
else.
couch later on. But any other scenes or cinematic shots that you really enjoyed?
I got,
Ryan, go ahead.
Leo beats the shit out of the two guys from Providence in the bodega.
Yeah, that former place that Colin,
and he throws the one dude through like the freezer door, and the other guy just like
He beats with a hat rack.
hat rack,
Coat rack, hat rack. Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know.
Anything with Costello and Billy. So Leo and fucking Nicholson, like when he's doing the low, like in my mind, the persona is coming through of just like, you know who I am, right? Like I can fucking kill you, like that.
Yeah,
like
and
it's.
I don't know if that's part of this scene, but I don't know if that's where Jack Nicholson and Ray Winstone, so Mr. French and Frank, they're trying to see if Leo's if he's like
with the hand in the bag.
Yeah, they
kind of gauging him.
He's already got a cast on his hand, and he throws it on the thing to break it open to see if he's wired or whatever. I don't know. If that
Right.
Oh, that's
yeah.
a different scene. I was talking about the scene where
I
he
did
had
write that down.
the dead man's hand in the bag,
And then,
kind of
and
feel
then
him
after
out.
he breaks the cast off, he continues to beat him with a Timberland boot on his wrist. Like, you a cop? Are you a cop? You know.
Yeah, that's an iconic scene.
You're gonna stop doing coke deals with your jerk off cousin.
Yeah, the jerk off cousin. Yes, yes.
But I did specifically write down the breaking of the cast. Again, anything where Nicholson is like kind of at the table, and again, he's just giving off the feeling of like, I'm the fucking chief here. Like, this is my party here. I love those. He plays it very well.
I got two shots that I'm going to say are cinematic in terms of
Sure,
like
go ahead.
there isn't so much dialogue. Is Queenan falling off the the tower, that building?
And let me just add in that when he gets thrown off, dude, I love this shot, man. It's just got the body kind of slow motion. It's not super slow motion, but it's definitely slower. And then it's just a seagull and like just, cawing in the back, silence otherwise. Fucking great.
And then my second one for cinematic is when you have a final confrontation. You have Queenan, Dignam meeting up with Frank, and they're like, we're gonna get you, that whole thing. And I think a parade's going on, and you have Gwen. She's singing in the choir. There's churchgoers. I really found that to be such like he's walking a very thin line. And Queenan and Dignam, if they could have brought him in, they would have at that point. But he's like, you guys are gonna keep chasing your tail. That for me, that was a big cinematic shot.
Ryan, you got any cinematic shots?
Are we still doing scenes? Or is
Scenes and cinematic shots.
I think they're kind of
I
the
didn't
same
specifically
vein.
any cinematic shots. No.
Okay. I will go back to scenes then with the Fitzy's interrogation where Sullivan basically pretends to be his lawyer because these guys in the mafia, they just fucking have a card that says call this number, they'll get him out.
Call your mother.
And he's like,
Well, I know you're not gonna be there for
he's
supper.
like, Sullivan's like, has anybody talked to you? And Fitzy's like, I called you.
That's perfect.
And then he's like,
Called you.
and then he gets on the phone. He's like, I think you need to call your mother, tell her you're not going to be home. He's like,
Home for supper.
hey, what does he say? He says,
Hey, Ma.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ma.
I
I'm
won't
not
be
going to be home for
I'll
supper.
be late for.
Yeah.
I got picked.
I don't
up.
know if this is what the order of this is. Sorry, I'm not as familiar with this movie, but like, I love all the scenes with Costigan and Mr. French, like shaking down people.
Yeah.
There's,
got to kill
there's a couple of
the fat guy.
couple of them. Sorry, where they're like, he's like, Mr. French is like, tell him he needs the money, and then Leo sees the other. He's watching the other guy. Looks like he's gonna grab a gun. He's reaching for cigarettes.
He
and
cracks him in the
smacks him in the
jaw.
mouth. He's like, "Why'd you do that?" He's like, "It's Jimmy Bags or whatever."
Yeah, I thought he was grabbing something. He's a bookie.
It's like, you knocked my teeth out.
And that, later on, I'm kind of skipping ahead, but later on,
That's all right.
he breaks the framed picture over the guy's face and shoots him in the kneecap. And he finds out that Frank's a FBI
Frank's an
FBI
informant.
informant. And then Baby Blue's playing in the background.
I mean, they go to whack that guy at his like kitchen table or whatever, and he gets hit. He gets hit with like a duck toy in his eye.
Oh yeah, he throws the
then-
duck toy on him.
And then he's like, Mr. French is like, don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. Like fucking right away.
That actually is, which is weird. If you're like, MythBusters, yeah, does that dampen the sound of them? It does.
Oh, it does. Cool.
It does. Now, will you still hear a pump? But it won't be a huge bang.
I should mention too you mentioned that the scene where he shoots the guy in the kneecap. Mr. French is doing like the firecrackers, so you don't hear the gunshot.
Yeah,
when
the
Leo
kids are
shoots
out
him.
playing with firecrackers. You could easily, get a
I
gunshot.
mean, they're
in
smart
there.
gangsters in some sense.
And I think the final, like I said, the confrontation scene where the drugs and everyone, the firefight, Mr. French, does himself in, where everything kind of comes to a head. That whole scene, just well done,
I got
crafted.
a couple quicker ones in there. There's a coke scene with Costello, and he's
Jesus.
I mean, it's a little. It just shows like this guy is fucking wild, unhinged. Like he's got two women and throwing coke.
He's like
crazy.
snorting until
Very
you can't
crazy.
feel anything.
Yeah. I also like this quick one where it's Fitzy and what's the other guy's name? Delahunt.
Oh,
So these two guys are
He's
like
a cop. Yeah.
just kind of talking outside, and he's like Delahunt, which is one of the guys from. We'll get to cast on
Costello's crew. Yeah.
I'm just saying he was in something else, but he is like, oh yeah, he's a cop. It's like Fitz is like, what are you talking about? It's like anybody who doesn't look at you as a cop in Delahunt's mind, and then a chick walks by, and he's like, "Oh, nice puppy. Can I touch her?" And she's like, "Yep, she's a cop." Like, just keep pointing out,
Just
and
keep
then
walking.
Costigan walks out. He's like, "Are you a fucking cop?" And he's like,
Yeah.
You know what blew my mind? Obviously, through watching this movie, you know that Frank had 2 plants in at least minimum of 2 plants in the police agency, but there was also 2 plants in his crew too, because the one dude got shot in the.
Well, is that or the police just saying that?
No, he said I gave you the wrong address. But he showed up at the right one.
Okay.
I know, but then they talk.
So maybe here on. Let's go in.
But then they have this scene where they say the news says he was a cop, and then Frank says they're just saying that so I lose my attention on this or right or something.
Okay, so this is what I gather from it is that Delahunt knows Costigan is a
yes,
informant.
At that point, yes.
I would venture a guess. This is me theorizing that if he knew that he was a rat and Delahunt is not a cop, he's going right now going, Costigan's a rat, Costigan's a fucking rat, dying breath, and Costigan gets whacked right there. But I think because Delahunt could be an informant or could be some way tied to
I think there was 2 and 2.
I think that's why he goes out. Yeah. Delahunt goes out with going basically like, I gave you the wrong address, letting us know, the audience, that, hey, Delahunt knows that he's a cop, and then he dies.
Yes.
I could entertain the idea that like there was a plant and they're just trying to throw a story out to fuck with
I don't
Costello,
think so. I really think that they had 2 people that were working for him, and it was under his radar maybe. Because the whole time, I mean, that was the theme. He's like, you could never really be sure. Even he's like, if someone tried to take me out, what would what's the benefit? He's like, who do you think could do a better job than what you do? Essentially, I think that psychosis, or not psychosis, that paranoia of like, who can I trust? Even Mr. French, like his wife. Oh yeah, she can be trusted now.
There's 2 I want to mention real quick. I think a real tense scene is where they have the sting set up with the Chinese and
that was so
Nicholson's
cool.
crew and
no phones
and Matt Damon's texting
from his pocket
to Jack
I know how to
Nicholson.
do that. I remember how to do QLR
because he's in front of all the cops and he can't expose himself, so it's kind of intense.
Dude, and they set up the guy sets up the cameras and they're all blind. He's like, oh, I guess there's a blind spot. There's literally
Ellerby grabs him. Can I talk
nobody.
To him? Over here real quick.
I have that in the lines.
Go ahead.
We got the lines.
Later.
Do we want to do it
now?
Yeah, do it now.
Sorry.
Yeah,
there's one part he's joking. He's like, I'm going to go have a smoke right now. You want to smoke? You don't smoke, do you, right? What are you, one of those fucking fitness freaks on? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's good.
And then
what? Dignum is
I got a clean record.
You
I
go
like
with Dignum.
Hold on, I'm losing my...
I'll do the other guy.
Oh, are we doing the table read?
No.
Okay.
It's not in the table read. It's just the back and forth between Dignum and the guy.
Yeah, but it's part of our... Okay.
No, it's not.
Ellerby, number 4.
No, it's a different thing with something
else.
else.
Oh, different scene?
About the IT guy.
Here we go. Oh, sorry.
Yep, okay.
He's like, this is unbelievable. Who put these fucking cameras in this place?
Oh, who the fuck are you?
I'm the guy who does his job. He must be the other guy. So I couldn't find it.
No, it's all good. I like that. It's just the IT guy, and he's giving a...
No, but I like Ellerby from that scene. He's like, can I talk to you in private real quick?
He's beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, he walks like 2 steps. He's like, you ruined this whole fucking investigation.
Dude, he's like, I'm going to rip your arm off and shove it up your ass.
And then what I have to mention, I'm just going to do the whole back and forth real quick. The driving range scene.
Yes, thank you. I was getting to that.
Ellerby and Sullivan. He's coming to talk to Alec Baldwin. He's like, how's your wedding coming along? Great, she's a doctor. That's outstanding. Yeah. Marriage is an important part of getting ahead. Lets people know you're not a homo. Married guy seems more stable. People see the ring, they think, at least somebody can stand that son of a bitch. Ladies see the ring, they know immediately you must have some cash or your cock must work. Yeah, it's working. Working overtime.
Working overtime. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, thank you.
I love that. That was a good
working overtime.
Yeah.
I got just 2 little quick ones. There's one where Nicholson gets out of the car. Like, he's an older dude, right? He's like probably like 60, 70 in this. And him running, like...
Oh, it was fun. Dude, it was comical.
It's a comical run, but it does seem a lot like... Frank Costello doesn't look like he's moving a lot in general. And then when like the shit's hitting the fan, he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta move. I gotta
he
go."
starts
He
waddling,
like,
trying to book it.
Yeah,
That was great.
And then the other scene, which again, I mean, this is a movie that I see every couple of years in full, but the very ending where the rat is on the railing outside, I never clocked that. Like I just was looking at the. It's called something. It's like the Boston
Capitol
building.
Capitol building or whatever. But yeah, I never noticed the rat that
was standing on the
just
railing
going
right
along,
after
which
Mark
is CGI,
Wahlberg.
by the way.
But that whole scene was call it theme greed. He wanted this upper class life because he grew up in the Southie projects. He finally attained that. That's why it was like that gold dome in the background. Like, oh, you're welcome
he's always
to upper middle class.
Sullivan
tomorrow.
has always had a fascination with that. That's been like his dream to be
right
overlooking that.
But he was Icarus. He flew a little too close to the sun.
Definitely so, but I think it's also partly that Dignam was really like, I think Dignam was the best cop out there.
Yeah, he got kicked. Yeah.
Like in terms of like, I got no line for bullshit, and we're going to get the bad guy. Like he's very straightforward. Then Dignam ends up killing Sullivan in his apartment at the very end.
Yeah. Well, way before. Sorry, the ending's fucking
Sorry,
awesome.
we're jumping around
No,
here.
you're right. I was just going to say
I thought we were getting up to the. I mentioned that because I mentioned the rat scene at the end.
Yeah.
But go ahead with the shootout.
Symbolism.
Oh, I was gonna say the porno theater scene where you
that was fucking funny.
The black dildo, and then Leo's tailing trying to figure out who the rat is.
In Chinatown,
trying to figure out who Matt Damon is, and he doesn't catch up to him. And then Matt Damon stabs a Chinese dude who's like working at the
taking off the some
and then
product from the truck.
And then also like Woj said, that scene where we find out Delahunt, they find his body.
Right,
and Frank's like just chewing him out, and he's like,
chewed out Fitzy.
He's like, the cops are saying he's a cop, so I won't look for the cop. Are you soft, Fitz? When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump him in the marsh. Not where some guy from John Hancock goes every Thursday to get a fucking blowjob.
That was good.
I have more.
I got the other part of that.
Is there okay? You know what? Let's roll it into any other quotes we haven't already done yet. And I know we got one last little table read, which is a good back and
laugh.
forth.
This ain't reality TV.
What the fuck is that one that he says? He's like,
well, who says Fitzy?
Yeah, Fitzy is talking
he says,
about
I don't believe it. Is he Irish? Right? He's like,
yeah, he's like, I don't fucking believe it.
Yeah.
I spent all night doing him. I'm embarrassed.
I spent all fucking night dragging the poor bastard in there. Tell me how they find him so fast. Somebody walking a fucking dog? What fucking size dog is that? Has to be a big fucking dog, man. I spent all night doing it, man. I'm embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
I still don't believe he was a cop. I don't believe it. Sorry,
I like the one quote that jumps off the script for me was he's like, who let this IRA motherfucker in here? And he's like, how's your mother doing? She's on her way out. We all are. Act accordingly.
Aren't we all? Yeah.
I was also mentioned the intense scene where Martin Sheen's being tailed by the cops because Matt Damon put him onto him, and he's meeting up with Leo at this abandoned building. And then the guys who work for Frank are also going there to find out who the rat is.
Yeah, that's great.
And they have to separate, and while Leo escapes down the fire escape, Martin Sheen just sits on the one floor
smoking a cigarette.
And as Leo's running around the building, Martin Sheen's fucking body's tossed from the roof of the building or whatever, all the way down, runs right in front of him.
Blood splatters
blood
right on
all
his face,
over him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that scene was really awesome.
That scene's dope. I just would say about kind of like the finale scene, the shootout in the warehouse and all that. I think it was like a perfect amount of time, like in terms of like kind of realistically how something would go down when you have like 20 cops with automatic weapons and they're in a single line.
They're in a good position.
Dude, they just come out and you go, getting fucking murdered. Like everybody goes down. Fitzy, Mr. French takes
when
one
he's
in the
reverse,
chest.
he's like
goes into like a trailer and then blows up.
The final, the bust or whatever is sick.
I think we're at that, right?
Yeah, so that's what I mentioned.
Okay,
you were talking about. That's why I was mentioning. Like, fucking Mr. French gets shot and backs up into a trailer, and then he's like, the car's gonna blow up. He's like, fuck it, and he just shoots himself.
The car's
in the
already
head.
on fire.
And then Matt Damon has Jack Nicholson one-on-one. He's like, you working for the FBI or whatever? And
Jack Nicholson is already shot.
Yes.
And then he's calling Sullivan, Matt Damon, to get help.
Here's the phone.
And then they're doing this stuff. Like, Sullivan obviously is like, he fucking...
He didn't know that
hold on. Let me just mention, though, in the beginning. So Sullivan had the ability to go, we can take the tails off of Costello.
Which he had to do, yeah.
We'll take them off of Costello, and he could have just been like, hey, we're going to do this. I'm going to get you, and then find a way out of it and go, oh, my informant didn't come through to me. Your Queenan's guy didn't come through. He instead goes, I know exactly where their location is. He's going to confront him to go, hey, you're in the fucking FBI now? Like, what?
Because he thinks he's going to get burned.
Right. He's very selfish.
So I think this almost walks us through. Do we have any other quotes or
No, I got a
scenes?
lot of quotes. Man.
All right, let's keep racking quotes.
Quickly.
Well, no, we're finished with scenes.
Quickly with the scenes I just mentioned, after the drug bust, the intense debrief, Matt Damon and Leo, when Matt Damon knows that Leo is the rat.
When he finds the citizens.
But Leo doesn't know he's the other rat, and then he figures it out when he sees the citizen's envelope, and he walks out of there before Matt Damon
before he
comes
gets
back.
paid out, yeah.
And then
deletes his record.
His whole record, and that leads into also Vera Farmiga finding out, getting the CD in his mail and playing it over the stereo and the headphones, then pulling him out and letting Matt Damon hear it as well. Right. She knows that he's full of shit.
He's a fraud, yeah.
And then, Woj said the ending, the whole triple
murder,
triple cross, which the first time is amazing. Obviously, it's coming every other time afterwards, but the first time you see it,
it's
phenomenal.
It takes you definitely by surprise.
You finally get Leo and Matt Damon, besides that one scene, together again in a more intense scene. Mm-hmm. Leo gets shot, then Anthony Anderson gets shot,
then
James
Badge Dale, who's the other plant, and then
he gets
killed by Matt Damon, who's like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna be an
sole witness, to
a real cop now." I guess he's gonna be. I think at that point, right? I guess.
I think he was cutting ties for possible.
Well, I think he's gonna just go higher up in the police. Was my thinking.
All right, we'll get to the theories and stuff later, but I would say I am pretty good on scenes.
As far as scenes go, that was all.
Let's move on to...
I was going to go to picky nits at this point because I think we have quite a bit. I know we usually do it later on, but I think it's at least worth noting, no? Or do you guys want...
Picky nits logically follows at the end of it.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
Again, we've gone through everything else, and then picking this.
Fair enough.
Okay, we're
all
done
right,
with
well,
it.
then let's kick it over to...
We can do quotes if you want to.
Yeah, I thought we were doing quotes the whole damn time.
Well, we're interjecting them so we don't get to quotes being like, hey, we have 40 minutes of quotes, which I did do that one other fucking episode. Check it out.
Yeah. All right, if there's more quotes, that's fine. We can roll.
Yeah, I'll go through it. I mean, dude, Jack Nicholson opening up is he says some weird shit. He's like, some stuff that's great. Like, no one gives it to you. You have to take it. Very straightforward. I like that. But then he's talking to a kind of like a 15-year-old girl. He's like, you get your period yet common? It's like, what the fuck, man? Like,
she fell funny.
Oh, geez.
That was actually him improving it.
I love that.
Boom, boom.
That was his idea, by the way. He came up with that.
Now, do you want to be a cop or do you want to appear to be a cop?
Yeah.
Sorry, we did that in the scene, too.
World needs plenty of bartenders. 2 weeks, no pay. Alec Baldwin to dig him.
The one Kevin Corrigan line is just fucking, I think it's hilarious, man. Where he's like, they're doing a drug deal with Puerto Ricans, and he's like, Puerto Ricans think they know everything. If they knew shit, they wouldn't be Puerto Ricans.
Without asking too many questions, do you have anyone in Costello presently? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
You want to do that scene? That's part of our little...
Oh, do we have one more table read?
We did one more table read. It's only Ellerby and Diggum, if you guys want to take it.
Diggum.
I got one more before we get to it. He's like...
You can be Ellerby then.
I think this is Dignam, where he's like, you're a fucking genius. Who forged your transcript?
Yep.
All right. Let's get in the table read. What are we doing?
Number 4. What would you be, Ellerby?
4.
And you'll be Diggum.
4.
There we go.
Okay, ready? All right. During a conference briefing about Costello and his crew, Staff Sergeant Diggum is our new liaison to the undercover department. His undercover work is extensive. He's here to give his report. Sergeant Diggum.
Okay, my people out there, They're like fucking Indians. You're not going to see them. You're not going to hear about them. Except for me or Captain Queenan. You will never know the identity of undercover people. Unfortunately, this shithole has more fucking leaks than the Iraqi Navy.
Fuck yourself.
I'm tired of fucking your wife.
How's your mother?
Tired.
She's good. She's tired from fucking my father.
Is there another one?
And that goes on to what Woj's quote was in terms of like, yeah, we with all feds or anything, we feed them shit and keep them in the dark.
Oh, yeah, like mushrooms.
Yeah, we treat them like mushrooms, feed them shit and keep them in the dark.
My theories on feds is that they're like mushrooms. Feed them shit and keep them in the dark. You girls have a good day.
And he walks right out. What a badass.
Do you guys remember the second part of like where Sully is like, yeah, Jimmy had a rough month. He had a heart attack while he was in jail. Then he gets out, and then there's something
His mother
else.
died.
Like, it's like, yeah, it's like his mother died. He's got, and then he got popped by Mr. French and Costigan. Let's see. I think I got one more. Calm down, or you're shooting your pants. It was Costello. Is it weird? He goes back to the eat something and eat something. I don't know why. It's just.
No Ticky, no Landry.
Dude, that one,
Perfect.
That is
I use that even today.
That is the number one quote where I was expecting him to say literally anything else. And he says that. I'm like, what the
Here in America, we don't come here with automatic weapons.
He goes on a real self-righteous kind of turn there.
Doesn't add more inches to our dick. It adds our years to our sentence.
He goes,
they didn't think we had a Navy. I love that when they're off on the boat.
Oh, and sorry, I'm going to dabble back. When Fitzy and Delahunt are talking about the woman walking by, he's like, probably the fucking police commissioner. Costello is like, I didn't need money since I took Archie's milk money in the third grade.
Like there's a little exchange between Sullivan and Diggum where he's trying to figure out who the undercover guys are. He's like, problem? Yeah, I got a problem. I run rat fucks like you, okay? I don't like him. The day you wouldn't take a promotion, let me know. And if you'd taken care of us, I wouldn't even be here. Fuck yourself, you piece of shit. And I'm going to need those identity undercovers. Blow me, all right? But not literally, though. Unfortunately, there's no promotion involved for you. Fucking prick. They're a little back and forth.
The Detective Brown one, I know you probably have this rolled up, is in the academy where he's like, after I get past the academy, my lady's going to give me a blowjob. And then Leo's like, yeah, I'm sure your mother. I forget, but she's a wonderful lady.
I am out of quotes.
I like last two. They refer to heavy work. When they're going to get Queenan, you're like, come on, 3:14, heavy work. Let's go. I love that. I don't know. And then the last one is so Costigan finally grabs Sullivan. He's got a gun pointed at him. He fucking puts his hands behind his back. And then, because, again, Costigan's deleted from the program. There's no evidence that he's a cop.
Yeah.
Sullivan goes, what is this, a citizen's arrest? Blow me.
Yeah, citizen's arrest, blow me.
All right, tapped out. Moving on.
I believe we would be into that guy category.
Or do you want to do a little bit of music?
Either or, man.
Let's go with that guy. Let's hit a quick that guy. Mine is Kevin Corrigan, who is Sean Costigan.
I got them all listed here.
Go ahead. That's my
Kevin
that guy.
Corrigan, Mark Rolston, who's in Predator, Shawshank, Rush Hour. I think for some people you could say James Badge-Dale. Like, I know
James Badge-Dale's in a lot of shit.
I know who he is, but not everybody.
Delahunt and Berrigan.
Terry Serpico.
Yep.
He's Tommy's cousin in Rescue Me, who's the lawyer. I think his name's Eddie in the show. John Senatiempo. He's Fonzie in Too Fast, Too Furious. You got Fonzie and Fabio. He's one of the guys.
Okay, I got
that guy. Brian Haley is in Little Giants. He's Spike's dad.
Brian Haley is a guy that you will know.
One of the cops. You see him. Henry Uke is in The Sopranos. Is Tony B's Korean boss, so he beats up when he's going to open the massage parlor. David O'Hara is Fitzy. I don't know. I've seen him in a bunch of shit. I don't know what, but I know this guy Armin Garo. He's in The Sopranos. He plays Coco.
That's where
Coco. Thank you.
Him for
Coco. Okay.
Talking to Meadow. And then this last one, J.C. McKenzie. He's one of the attorneys in The Social Network.
And just real quick, Fitzy's in Braveheart, dude. So
that's right, he is.
And Mr. X and Wanted.
So those are my guys.
So.
Great that guy.
Yeah, you
great selection.
Just took over all of them, so that's cool.
I'm sorry, bro.
That's
it's
cool.
fine. The one thing I just will mention, not really a that guy, but Robert Wahlberg who I believe
Robert
is
Wahlberg.
his.
He's the FBI guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got one line. I think he's got to be like a cousin.
I think
or
he's
some
got
of
to be related to Mark Wahlberg in
Mark.
some fashion.
I mean, there's a picture of him with Wahlberg. You ever see that video of Larry King trying to say Mark Wahlberg?
No, I can't say
Okay,
it.
man. I'm gonna put it in, and then I'm gonna show you guys fucking right at. It's a funny
Video
shit.
clip.
It's hilarious. I don't care. It's
He's
the
kind of got
funny
Larry
shit.
King glasses on right now. That's good.
There you go. Ipso facto, I'm your boss. I just got a couple other JC McKenzie. Okay, I got one you missed. JC McKenzie.
I said him.
Okay, never mind. I didn't get one that you
Social
missed.
network attorneys.
Fuck you. Okay.
All right, let's do music and then casting couch.
Let me just sorry
Hold on, player.
before the cast goes. I just got it. You mentioned in the beginning, but like it's got to be said again. Like I thought the Goodfellas cast, I was like, you can't beat it. Like in this, I'm not saying he's going to beat it, but like this definitely gives a run for the
comes
money.
close.
I mean, dude, you got Nicholson, Baldwin, fucking Matt Damon,
Leo,
Mark Wahlberg, like those five right there. I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Right.
And then you add in Martin Sheen. Like there's a lot of kickers in there. Whereas I would just say, Goodfellas to me is like you have four like the best guys, and then everybody is kind of like these like little blips. They're great in their roles, but they're not like really important. Like this, you have like 7 guys I think pretty important to the actual role. Or
the star power on this, definitely. Yeah. I think blows it out of the water.
Okay, soundtrack is where we're at.
Soundtrack. Here's some of the soundtrack. I wrote these down to help you guys out because usually I don't prepare for these things as well as I should. Comfortably Numb. Give Me Shelter, which you've already mentioned, I think.
Yeah.
I'm Shipping Up to Boston, which honestly is ingrained in my mind for this movie.
MVP 05
and
as well.
MVP 05.
That's what I said.
Sweet Dreams is in this.
That's by Ray Buchanan, the ending song. It's great.
Well, which is
John Lennon.
John Lennon, yep. Sail On Sailor.
The Beach Boys.
Bang Bang is in there. And then they have a few opera scores, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, there was Chi Mi Frena. The soundtrack in this, I think they do it really well in terms of like a lot of the scenes. Like soundtrack is forefront. Like Gimme Shelter, you open with that. That's what it's about. A lot of these other songs that you mentioned, they're kind of like in the background where it's like you can barely hear it, but you hear it enough to go like, oh shit, okay. The Dropkick Murphys is again maybe one where it's like this is the fucking thing. Shit's about to pop off. But Nobody But Me by the Human Beings.
Had that too.
That's fucking awesome. And then Thief's Name by Nas plays for like, what, 10, 20
for all
seconds?
like, not even like 5, 6.
Great song.
Great song.
I also would add,
ahead,
like
Ryan.
I mentioned before, Baby Blue from Badfinger.
Okay.
Which is the final song in Breaking Bad. For the closing scene is played in the one scene where Leo's beating up that guy with the picture frame, shooting him in the kneecap.
Okay.
I like that one a lot too.
I mean, again, I think Scorsese does the soundtrack fucking right.
Yes.
Pretty much any movie.
He does, like I said, I think that's actually sets him aside from a lot of other directors because every time I've watched a Scorsese, there is a song that's already ingrained in my mind based on that movie, which, that has to say something about the director. Like now you're applying a song or music to a scene or,
I think Scorsese does it very well in that he goes, hey, this is the song that needs to be playing because it's going to invoke an emotion. Other like directors, which I'll just kind of compare with Nolan, Christopher Nolan, I think that it definitely has an idea, but then I think he kind of lets the composer go like, yo, like Hans Zimmer. Like he just went like, do your thing, man.
Or
I'm sure
John
they
Williams
were
or something.
collaborating,
Yeah.
but
Christopher Nolan movies seem to be more score based.
Thank you, that's what I was
Scorsese's
gonna
more soundtrack based.
very okay. I agree with that.
Like
But
Tarantino has more soundtracks as well, whereas let's say Spielberg is more of a score with like John Williams.
Definitely so.
But
I mean, I think, though, that, like, again, Steven Spielberg is another great example. I think they are collaborating, but I think, moreover, they're just kind of going like, yeah, John Williams, one of the most prolific composers and, band, movie score, like, composers of all time. I think he's just kind of letting go and, hey, dude, Scorsese's like, this song, this song, this song.
He's picking all the stuff out of the
freaking more
freaking
hands on there, more hands off
jukebox, which is, I think, pretty wild.
All right.
I want to do a casting couch because I know your thoughts on Vera or Dr. Madeline Madden. You're not too hot on her. Who else would you drop in?
Well, I actually have what casting possibilities there were. If you guys want,
Sure, I'd
throw
love to
them
hear
out
it.
there.
So originally, Corey and I listened to a podcast about this last night to brush up.
Look at him doing his research.
Well,
Doing a podcast for the
Yeah,
podcast.
the rewatchables. Listen to it; it's the best.
Shout out.
They had mentioned that originally, there was the thought that before Jack Nicholson, Al Pacino was going to be Frank.
Okay.
Whether you like that or not, that was just a possibility.
Not my favorite, but go ahead.
Brad Pitt was originally going to be Matt
We heard-
Damon's
yeah,
part.
we saw that.
I could see that.
I think Matt Damon's better choice, but I think Brad Pitt could work. Robert De Niro was going to be Queenan.
Queenan, yep.
Martin Sheen, he couldn't do it because he's doing The Good Shepherd.
Yeah, what a
really fucked.
dude!
up.
Don't ever watch that movie. What a waste of time.
For Dignam, whatever.
We've only said it like 80 times.
Mark Wahlberg's character originally wanted Ray Liotta to come back.
Yeah.
And,
Dennis Leary too is
and
also
Dennis
considered.
Leary had that as well. Yes, I think Dennis Leary would have been fantastic.
I think
Dennis Leary would have been.
Yeah,
We should have dropped him in on one scene. That's one thing
No.
I would have wished just in the background or something. For fuck's sake.
I think Dennis Leary could have been Alec Baldwin's part. Could have been Mark Wahlberg's
I think
part.
He could have been-
Dennis Leary fits very well in this
yeah.
universe.
That being said, I love Mark Wahlberg. So
No, I know.
those would
I
be
just
great.
wish they could have brought him in
And I
too.
would love to have seen Ray Liotta reunited with Scorsese again in some capacity. He wanted for Alec Baldwin's part Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson was doing Apocalypto, so he couldn't do that. And then last but not least, I had Anthony Anderson's part was originally going to be RZA, but he couldn't do it for whatever reason, so they got Anthony Anderson to do it.
I liked Anthony Anderson
No, I
in
like
his
it too.
role too.
Those are just
Yeah.
an alternate reality.
In my
What could have
casting
been.
couch, I mentioned this because he wasn't so hot on Vera, but I was like, what about Jennifer Love Hewitt? She might have been a little young, but I thought
too
she'd be
young.
able to pull it off.
She's
Super
too
hot.
young.
Super hot.
I mean, I think again for what the role was, I think Vera Farmiga did a fine job.
Yeah.
What about Rashida Jones?
No,
At
I'm
that-
not. That's not where I'm going with it.
Okay.
I know that they floated out like Kate Winslet and
Nope.
Jennifer Aniston, and
think
then
Kate Winslet
I think Hilary Swank as well. I think Jennifer Aniston
Swank, nuh-uh.
could have maybe got there, but it would have been interesting. I'll just
I mean,
say
you guys
that
mentioned
is
Marissa Tomei. I wouldn't have minded that.
I mentioned that earlier, but he's like, no, she would be too old. I was like, dude, fuck
I don't
that.
think necessarily she would be like super old, but like it's more of because she doesn't age, and I think that's more of like
To her credit, maybe.
yeah, it's like it's a bone, like it's great.
What about like a Jennifer
But-
Garner?
I could take
I
Jennifer.
could see
Garner.
that. I could see that. I
Jennifer
think it's-
Garner, Jessica Biel, like just somebody. This is the thing is that Vera Farmiga in this does do a
She
subtle,
does a great job.
subtle Boston accent though, and as we'll talk about in the Picking Nits, I just think overall a lot of the characters, the accent is a little waning and
Yes.
stuff like that. But we'll save that for later. I would say in terms of like recasting in general, not necessarily a specific recasting. I have this more in the switcheroo character. Category rather of like give me somebody else from the Scorsese. I know you mentioned Ray Liotta, but like Pesci, Sorvino, De Niro would have been great in some role, whether mafia side or cop. I think, but I just would have liked one of them to kind of sprinkle in as well. I think that would have been cool.
They had mentioned in the pod I thought it was a good alternate casting instead of Jack Nicholson, maybe like Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
I'd like that too.
fucking
I think
great.
that would have been great as well.
Fucking
Um,
awesome.
I would like to see Gene Hackman and not Nicholson's role though, but in this film to some degree,
maybe
like
he could have
Ellerby.
been- He could have been.
He could have been Ellerby,
Keenan,
easy.
Queenan.
Or Queenan, yes. Ellerby or Queenan, easily. I could see that.
I think those would also be good.
But I like Nicholson for. I think this is a great role for Nicholson.
I think
period.
I think you could have easily had like if you wanted like Ben Affleck in this somewhere.
Yeah,
he does a
I
Boston
would agree.
accent
I would agree.
really well.
That would
He
work.
could have been.
I wish he was in the like,
Maybe he could have been like James Badge Dale's part, or he could have been a bigger part. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like
or even a drop in during the rugby scene. That'd
Maybe-
be great. Yeah,
maybe-
fuck you. Like him and Matt and
Maybe
Matt Damon. That would have been
Yeah,
hilarious.
going against each other.
maybe instead of like Fitzy, you got Ben Affleck or something. You know?
I could see that. Yeah.
See, I would
I'm not
rather.
saying you have to get rid of
I
him,
would
I'm saying.
rather replace Delahunt.
Okay, yeah,
And
Delahunt.
then-
Yeah, sure.
And then you go Fitzy, because Fitzy's like he's
He's unique.
over here,
Yeah.
and everybody else is fucking over here.
Sure.
I'm good on the. I already just kind of gave you my switcheroo. You guys got a switcheroo?
I had crossover. The crossover
Switcheroo for 2.
I would have loved to if they could have maybe blended some guys from the town in here.
Okay, yeah.
Like Jem or something. Maybe like the police are scouting a
It happened right
a
around.
crew or
Jeremy
something.
Renner, yeah.
And it's their crew, and I don't know, something like that.
No, I can see that because it
Jeremy
falls in
Renner,
the same, you know.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I cut you
No,
off.
it falls in the same kind of realm of like what they're trying to do is Whitey Bulger and the Winter Hill Gang, but the reality is the town is basically the Winter Hill Gang doing their thing.
Maybe like Jem and the crew work for Frank in some capacity.
I could
a
definitely
job.
see Jeremy Renner as like he's a young guy in 06 for like movies. Like I know he's like 30 or whatever.
He's very
but
young then.
But that would be great for him to kind of be a little bit more like loose cannon, like kind of the role that he is in the town. I definitely would like to see that supplanted in the.
As far as the spin-off, prequel, or sequel, I would just love to see maybe a Diggum sequel.
Yeah, you're a Dignam guy.
I love Diggum. He's the best.
He's the best.
He's the best.
Give us a drink. Give us a drink.
Give us a drink. You don't got to drink with me.
Damn, you took the wind right out of my sails because that was one thing I wanted. Actually, if it was up to me, I'd almost want to side skirt this thing, and I'd want to know what Diggum was doing when he got suspended.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would
yeah,
be cool to
yeah,
get the insight of
yeah.
Diggum doing like some, heavy
Dude,
core.
you could make a whole movie
On
about
that.
like him, whether it's like him just because again
investigating.
I don't know if
setting
he
up-
just killed Sullivan out of anger going this.
No,
or
I think he
fucking
knew the facts.
Absolutely knew the rat. If he knew the rat, like he was a rat, then yeah, the investigation into it, him getting the details.
I would guess Leo also sent him a copy of that CD.
Fair point.
that
Fair
Matt
point.
Damon
when he died. Yeah.
Yeah, fair point. I would like a young Nicholson. How did he make his?
Sorry.
his-
How to make his
Shit.
nut. Yeah.
Sorry, lightning bolt. Or maybe either that or Vera sent that Leo gave her that envelope. Maybe she sent that to him.
Maybe she sent it.
She
to
said
Dignam.
he said if I die or anything happens to me, you send this
To
or-
Queenan
Gotcha.
and Queenan died. So
or Dignam. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry,
No, you're
Didn't
good.
cut you
Lightning,
off there.
lightning bolt.
it came to me.
It's all good.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson prequel I think would be good as well, like you said.
I am good on. I'm down to picking.
Yeah, I
nits
think
right
we're picking
now.
nits if we're.
Yeah, let's
We're
run
good.
it. Piggy nuts.
All right, well,
we got a few.
I think Woj already mentioned.
Yep.
Boston accents are inconsistent.
Yes.
Some do it better, some do it worse.
Like I'll just go through it. Leo is inconsistent. Vera Farmiga's inconsistent. Alec Baldwin's kind of doing like a New York almost more
Right.
than Boston. He kind of
I
goes in
think
and
he
out.
still stays in the same
He's
register.
good. He's good enough.
You got
Jack Nicholson's not good at the accent.
Jack Nicholson is.
But
very-
I don't think he was
doing more.
intended to have one though.
But he does because every time he's the Oz, he goes with the Oz. But it's all he can do is the Oz. He doesn't really have.
Okay.
He kind of goes back into regular Jack Nicholson a lot of the other times.
It's definitely a little.
I mean, honestly, the
all over.
only to me, Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon are really nailing it. Even I think that Martin Sheen's doing decent, but he kind of sometimes slips a little bit. But he's better than most.
Martin Sheen stays again. I think
Yeah.
Sheen and Baldwin both stay in the same register,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same cadence, so it works. The part that really alerts you to, obviously, as you said, Costello just does one R and that's it. The R's is the only part that he changes. Leo, I feel like sometimes he just hits stuff way harder, and he's like, it's. I wish I had an example to pull.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, the not. I am not a co-op.
Yeah,
and you're like really
that's
hitting
an
it. It's
oversell.
Like, there's a couple times where he does that on certain words.
But
and I
then,
was
but
just
then
like,
other times he won't even do it. Like
Right.
the one scene where he's in the airport, he's like, "There is a rat in your unit." He doesn't even kind of just doing Leo. He's not really
Yeah.
doing.
yeah.
He tries. You know what? I'll say
So,
it's not a horrible attempt.
I would just say, like, as much as I love the Boston thing, maybe don't set it in Boston. Maybe just do a New York or Chicago.
Do it New York and then
or-
and then set them up to be
Or-
like, hey, you're a Boston from Boston
right,
in this.
or maybe in this movie, maybe like Vera Farmiga is like she moved to Boston. She doesn't have to have an accent. She could
right,
just be like
right,
a
right.
regular
Yeah, you could
person.
you could set it.
But
up
her
in
whole thing is like she grew up around there. She went to UMass or something like
well, I think
that.
they should change
He's saying
that.
to
Like,
avoid the
Gotcha,
criticism of the
gotcha.
accent is you can say, hey, she's from
Yep.
South Philly, and
Same-
then you just
and
are
maybe
like,
with
whatever.
Leo's character, be like, "Why don't you have an accent? Aren't you from here?" Yeah, well, I moved away when I was 11, and I came back
It's
when
a little choppy.
I came back when I was 21. So it's a little up and down, or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's a way to be just
So-
explain.
One thing that I didn't get to is possible like connections of movies. I forget what you're
Yeah,
going to call it. Is
switcheroo.
Good Will Hunting is a prequel or it's somewhat tied into this movie.
Sullivan is Matt Damon is
Well, yeah, I guess how would they? Because they're
No,
taking
I'm
away-
saying I'm saying taking Matt Damon out of not being taking Matt Damon out of the equation, or
of which equation?
of
Fair point.
the Goodwill Hunting equation. Essentially, he becomes this wicked.
So you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong here,
Yeah.
but you're just saying that Goodwill Hunting is happening
at the same time.
the same
Exactly.
time, and they could intersect in terms of
Right.
like,
I'm just saying
Okay.
they're in the same ballpark, but having the main character, obviously, in
gotcha.
both films, that's a crux to my whole thing.
So
but
Matt Damon is which character in that scenario? Is he Goodwill Hunting or is he?
no.
Colin
What
Sullivan?
he's saying is like
Hold on.
taking Matt Damon's the character because they're the same age in the movie, not same age, but
Yeah,
like
it's right around the same time.
They're an adult in that. So he's saying take that out. The Goodwill Hunting is still happening at the same time.
Of what
that type of story, while this is happening in the same city, there is a potential then for intersecting. It's not saying, hey, Matt Damon doing this and then in an alternate
I'm saying
universe.
he can only be one
I
person.
know he can only be one
Right.
person. That's
It
like
works.
I said,
that works better. That
I'm
crossover.
saying more of the lineage.
So I was just asking, which person is he going to be? Is he going to be Will?
I'm not asking to be either person. I'm saying
I'm
they
just
could
saying
exist in the same universe.
The
in a sense.
crossover, like it works much better when you have a film that takes like shows somebody younger and
Right.
then older. Then you can go, oh, these are the younger years to.
Like almost like, are you saying like good like Will Hunting like became Colin Sullivan? Like he's like fuck school, I'm going to be a cop now.
I think
or,
he's
like,
just kind of saying that they could operate in the
It very
same
well could
universe.
be because he's smart. I don't know,
Oh,
but
that could be.
you know what?
Yeah,
It's possible because
he
you
went-
got Goodwill Hunting, who was beaten his whole life because maybe his parents weren't around, and that's why Frank eventually just kept on helping him out where he could.
He went to California with Mimi Driver, and then he
And
got
then that
sick of her,
fucked up,
he
and then he came back.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's-
you fucked up.
fucked up.
But yeah, I just think again like those work best when it's a younger like the character in one film is this young and then the other one is an older guy. Like if this, we were doing Stand By Me and this, you
just
go,
watched that.
oh, the guy goes into Nicholson. I'm rambling, so we're moving on.
I just watched that the other day.
So I got a piggy knit here.
Yeah. Let's
Again,
finish up
this
Piggy
is
Nuts.
Go
this
for
is
it. Go for it.
this is really weird though, man, because again, Scorsese, and as I'm really watching these movies here, because we're doing all these notes and shit on it. So in Goodfellas, you got the quick cut after Tommy gets whacked, thinking he's gonna get made, and then in this one, if you mention it, if you saw it, there's another cut to black where Costigan's at his mother's funeral, and they're showing the coffin above ground. Quick cut to black, and then he's in front of the the gravesite by himself.
Right.
It's just a weird
I think
thing.
it's a quick time lapse that he used there. And I like the conversation he had with his uncle. He's like, outside of when she's in the ground, me and you are fucking dead.
Right. I'm just saying though, is like again, it's weird that it happens in two of these movies that are revered as like these are fucking
quick cut,
great.
yeah.
And Scorsese is a great director. It's a weird thing to have again an almost like the movie is perfect over here, but then like one scene here. Let's see what else I got. I'm not a huge fan of like Costello calls what Costigan is a rat for queening. Like he calls it out. I'm starting to sour on those a lot where it's like the character calls out exactly what's going to happen later.
Well, I would just, I don't kind of piggybacking off you, but like, how do both let's say both teams, for simplifying, both teams not realize that each other's a rat? Like, how do they not know Leo's a rat? He left when they were doing the whole filling out the paperwork, right? You hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Filling out the paperwork or whatever, like that was really suspicious. The whole thing with Martin Sheeney, where he just got there right after it happened, and then as far as Matt Damon's character goes, he's always on the phone like during like important times,
Operations,
calling his
and
dad.
they're trying to
Oh, sorry, Dad, I'm gonna be late for supper. Oh, sorry, Dad, I'm gonna.
The code names kind of were childish.
I would say that it was very, very evident for Costigan to be the guy. He's just fresh out. He already had a record.
Well,
and I'm kind of curious of like I don't even think that he would have even got into it even if you have a police record.
I agree.
Like being in the police force.
I actually had that in my notes. Would they trust Leo so fast, so soon?
I don't think so.
I feel like
What is the time lapse of this actual like from start to finish?
Well, he says Sullivan asked him, "Is like how long have you been in?" And he's like, "Long time." I'm guessing 3-4 years, maybe. It looks.
Yeah.
It's got to be like during the meat, not the younger years, not that snippet, but like the meat of this
I would say
movie.
it's got to be under 7.
I think there could have been a better way to establish Leo to establish trust with.
He does a bunch of
Frank.
jobs for him, though.
He does, but maybe something where like I don't know, like he does like some. Like he robs something for him and gives it to him, or he saves his life, or
I got
something. Go, please.
Sorry, he could have got pinched, like doing a drug deal or something like that. If they put that in there, he gets pinched. Nobody, he didn't rat anybody out. Like
But that means he goes to jail.
Well, he did go to jail for the.
No, but I'm saying though is like okay, he does a bid again for like 8 months, and then you just fast forward through it. But you basically just are like,
okay, you're saying
he's taking a pinch. He goes in for 8 months, a year, whatever. He's back out, and then nothing happens to them. Like they're like, oh, we know that you didn't snitch. You're good.
Right.
With
I almost feel like there has to be a job or something where he has to kill some guy for them.
Yeah, I could see that as
and
well.
then
Well, that's how you get your button in the mafia. That's
right,
when they
he
know.
He does that. That way you know, okay, he's not a
He's
cop.
down for the
he
cause.
killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like, like we can trust him now, or I don't know.
And that kind of plays into Reservoir Dogs because they didn't think
Right.
Mr. Orange was because he ended up killing that woman who shot him.
Right.
Like it just as a reflex. But
I'm just still piggybacking on the again knowing like Sullivan's getting real loose and fidgety near the last 30, 40
plays
minutes
his cards
of the movie.
pretty wild.
Well, like he's again, you're talking about this being on the cell phone and stuff like that. He's asking a lot of like questions. Even the thing where like the woman comes in the room and he's like on a computer, and then as soon as she comes in, he goes, "All right, that's it for me. See ya." It's like there's a lot of fidgety behavior that leads up to it, and then you get to like the very end where like he's in Costello's ear going like, "Do they know about me? Do they know about it? Like, what are we doing? I gotta kill you now. I gotta fucking close up the ends." You know, I think Sullivan, like Costigan for sure, like you guys said, I don't even think he had a shot in the door without something else. Sullivan, though, is just like, at one point, it's just like you keep giving shit away. And then I asked the question, like, does Queenan know that Sullivan is the rat at some point?
It's got to come out on someone's radar eventually, man. It really,
I mean, you can't really trust Dignam because he's like, if you do
that's the one person I
anything
think
wrong-
you could trust.
No. I'm saying though, like in terms of like they build the character up in my mind to be like, Dignam's accusing everybody of doing everything. Like you're a fucking piece of shit, whatever. I'm just saying I don't know if you could immediately trust Dignam's opinion, even though I get that he's right.
All right, my one picking it is the fact that you see Colin or Matt Damon after the situation where 3 murders occurred, and the evidence would suggest you could look at his wrists. His wrists are gonna be bruised as shit. At some point, he was like his story didn't check out, and then the gun he used to kill Berrigan at the very end was Costigan's, and like in his description in the next scene, he's like, I drew down on him, and it's like they didn't know if you fired from your weapon. Like the way you described it, the scene doesn't add up. Like I think immediately cops will be like, hey, you know what? We're gonna just get some evidence, or you sit tight for a a while. They wouldn't necessarily arrest him, but dude, like. It just I think
inconsistencies,
very inconsistent,
sure.
And
I'm sorry, to jump in on that as well. I mean, not in that scene per se, but like that's the only scene that somebody rubs their prints off of a gun.
Right, that's it.
Everything else, it's like it's 2006 in this shit, or even like around that time. You would think the guys in the fucking like Frank is very, very laissez-faire with like, hey, I'm going to chop this guy up and I'm going to have DNA all over my, hands and feet and all this shit. It's like, all right, man, you're going to have a giant mound of coke at your penthouse when you know that, like, cops are surveilling you.
But he was protected. He was like one of those witnesses or informants that, hey, I'm going to feed you a bunch of other stuff so long as you stay off my radar.
I get that, but I think it's almost too much of, like, he's chopping people up at a rut,
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got one opinion, 2 questions.
All right.
My opinion is I would have loved more Mr. French scenes. I think
Love Mr. French.
Ray Winstone is really good, and he doesn't get enough time in this movie. I would like a couple more scenes with him.
People who tell you you can't
2
hit, and people who tell you can't.
I like the one where
He's not quite. You can't hit.
He's like, this is America, make more money. That whole scene, and then he gets cracked, and he's just like, he runs his hair. He's like, he's just like, what'd you do that for? He stops the beating he was giving the one guy to yell at his accomplice.
2 questions.
Yeah,
I want to
here
answer
it
all
is.
questions. One, is the baby Leo's baby or Matt Damon's baby? I think it's Leo's
Leo.
baby. Seeming like that
Leo
Matt Damon
for
couldn't
sure,
get it
because
up
Matt
at
Damon
all.
was having some
Yeah.
issues.
But I do think though that they did that perfect timing to go like it's just enough to be like, you see kind of problems in the relationship. They did this.
Yeah.
It's not clearly defined. Going, hey, like
No,
this
it's a good what
paternity
if.
test.
Second what if. Had Leo not ran away out of the office when he saw the envelope and Matt Damon was checking him out, would Matt Damon just given him his money and moved on? Like, to me, again, I think Matt Damon is going to just be a legit cop now. Seems like to me.
He kind of closed out some loose ends, but it was still.
He didn't delete the profile.
Oh,
until
this is what I got.
Until
Woj.
after.
Yeah, he wouldn't have admin rights to delete a record. But the one thing that think about it, and this is more of optics. If I am Leo and I'm about there to get paid, my undercover mission basically at this point is fucked, and he's just trying to get out and go home. If you have a guy who's doing heavy research, into you, when you're like, dude, it's simple. I gave you my password. Give me my fucking paycheck, and deep dive. I'd be like. Now I'd start to question.
I guess so, but like, what does he think? Does he think that Matt Damon's gonna arrest him?
So
or
this is what
he's
it
not gonna
is.
kill him in the middle of a police
No,
station.
no.
but
So
he-
this is what it is that Costigan now knows that this guy is the rat,
Yes,
and now because everybody is dead, you are the last piece to have
Yeah,
any
you're the
evidence.
last piece of the puzzle.
right. But
So-
I'm saying he can't kill him in the office.
No, but
though.
you know that
He gets set it
Sullivan
up
will
quick.
come after you.
Yeah.
But he's gonna come after you regardless. Might as well get the money.
No, he's not. How do you think he's going to come after him regardless?
Well, because he did, I guess, or no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
No.
All I'm saying is that when the reason that Costigan, I believe, flees is because he is the last connection between. If everybody else was dead, I think Sullivan.
His survival is necessary.
Like if the
after that
informant, if Costigan has no idea that Sullivan is connected to this, I think he pays him and they go on
point.
their
And that's
way.
it. Yeah.
But because they now knows, Sullivan is now like, okay,
He's
well,
firm
I got to
on-
keep tabs
I'm
on
saying
this guy. and-
Sullivan doesn't know that Leo knows that he's also a rat when he goes to do the whole research thing.
Sullivan is aware though that there's a rat, an informant in
And a lot
Costello.
of
No, I'm
them-
saying he knows Leo's the rat. I understand that. I'm saying, but he doesn't know that Leo knows he's the
Leo.
other
Okay, now
rat.
Leo could have
No.
played his cards better. Leo, time out. He's right. Leo could have played his cards better. Cover up that citizens thing and just act like
Right.
like nothing's wrong.
He doesn't
get paid and walk out of there.
Once you run out of there, now he knows that he knows. that
He
you
basically
know.
accelerated a clock
like
that
fucking
did. You know what
dodgeball,
I'm saying?
but-
He had the cards close to his chest and he went like that.
This is what I'll say. This is
All
what
right,
I'll
this
say.
is what I'll say.
This is what I'll say. And I'm not going to say, oh, I'm right about this because it's unclear. Costigan has the tapes from Frank. We are unaware of when he has access to that vault, to those things. You would again assume that it happened sometime after his death, which would happen before that meeting. So I'm just interjecting that there is a possibility that he hears that. Now, again, is he going to be able to put two and two together? They don't allude to that. But I think he's hearing those tapes of Sullivan's voice
And then once he
knowing there is a guy in the fucking unit.
No,
because he's already Costigan is.
I get that he knows that Matt Damon. He realizes he's the rat, but Matt Damon doesn't know he knows that. Like, so by leaving and running away, now you allude Matt Damon to the fact that you're onto him.
I get that, but you saw Sullivan unraveling at the end.
I know, but
He's killing people.
Again,
he's doing
but he
this.
can't kill him in the police station. There's
True,
nothing
Ryan.
he can
True,
do.
Ryan. But wouldn't that make it that much easier if you think everything is la-di-da?
I'm saying just because you leave the meeting early doesn't mean he can't find you and kill you still and hunt you down.
That's,
Right.
He
that's
knows
what
who
I'm
you
getting.
are, irregardless. It doesn't matter.
No, but this is what I'm just saying is that like I think the cards are on the table for everybody because again Costigan knows Sullivan knows Costigan, and they're on a level playing field. I get what you're saying of like knowing that he knows that you know.
But but to his point, I think that what you're trying to say is Matt Damon would have found out within that day that he was the UC that was working in Costello's group. He would have figured that out.
He already figured it out. He figured.
I know
out,
that.
They
so-
both know that.
Yeah.
But that's the problem is like I think when he was coming back, he was trying to probably figure out a plan to deal with Leo, and Leo just jets. So like I said, Leo accelerated the clock, but he also, I think he did a lot of groundwork to protect himself. And that's why that whole thing on the roof, he's like, even if, something doesn't stick to me, don't worry. Like the tapes are out,
To me, I don't know if I'm.
He set up a contingency
I don't know if
plan.
I'm right on this. To me, if Leo stays in the room, Matt Damon comes back, gives him his money, they move on. I don't think Matt Damon's coming after him.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think he is.
I don't know.
I think
if
he's becoming a cop legitimately now because his boss is dead. Pretty much all the people that he knows in the crew are dead.
Except for the informant.
He doesn't know James Badge Dale is another plant at this point. He doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know that.
So all he thinks is everybody's dead. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to be a real detective.
You're right.
A real cop. And he doesn't even do anything.
But I think he's too
I
paranoid.
disagree. I think because he's unraveling,
Yes.
I think his plan is eventually to get all the information from Costigan and then eliminate him.
He goes home to relax with Vera Farmiga, take a shower, and he doesn't even go to the thing till Leo calls him on the phone and he hears the CD. He wasn't like.
But in that dream, he's like, "Oh, I thought I died." So like the guy is losing his marbles.
I don't know. To me, I feel like I feel like he killed Jack Nicholson, and once he did that, he's like, I got a clean slate. Now I can be a legit.
I don't think
cop.
he ever thought that.
It's ambiguous about
right.
again why and
what's your other question though? You said
That was it. Who's
Okay.
baby?
Yeah.
I just have a quick thing. Like, does anybody know how much an informant would make for that type of work?
Fuck if
Like,
I know.
well,
I
I'm
guess we
saying,
could talk to my brother.
He's getting paid, and it's 4 years. Again, let's just approximate it. 4 years of work.
Leo?
And yeah, like how
It's
much?
gotta be
Like,
some real fucking money.
I mean, if he was making 30 grand as a state trooper,
I think he's gonna make significant amount more than a normal.
because you're putting yourself at a higher
Than a
risk.
normal
I'm
informant would
saying
make.
that, but like I don't know, man. Like
How much, though, yeah.
What's the price to put on like seeing murders happen all the time? Like because he's telling the
I
informant.
love
like,
that. He's like, what about these other 12 different things that
Right.
like he's yelling at him?
gotta-
That's the under the bridge. He's like, you're out of your fucking.
It's got to
mind.
be a good amount because he went to jail. Too,
I feel like it's got to be 6 figures.
yeah,
and
100%.
Gotta be
6 figures. Like
Whether he gets that right away or in lump
True.
sums, he's getting a significant amount. He has to be.
right.
that was my last thing. We can hit up
Yeah,
ratings.
we can put
Let's hit it up with
tie a
ratings.
bow on it.
All right, so let's go with Woj. Where are you rating it? Rent, own, or skip?
Yeah. I mean, this is an easy
Or stream,
own. It's one of Scorsese's amazing ones. I do own it. The rating I'm gonna give it is same as Goodfellas, 9.9 for me. It's again, there's some inconsistencies in it, which saves it from a perfect 10 in my book. But overall, the type of the type of movie that it is, it's like mafia, gangster type of shit. But then it's also kind of like just a little bit more modernized with stuff. That's why it's it's in my top 5 Scorsese for sure, like without a doubt. And maybe 2, 3 somewhere in there. Casino's worked in there. Wolf of Wall Street's worked in there. But 9.9.
I'm on the borderline of a stream own. I do own it. I'm just gonna say, but like, I don't visit this one as often as I do other ones. So for me, I think I'll lean toward the stream.
Okay.
But I'm a Scorsese guy, so of course I do own it. And then for a grade, again, this is not like I like this movie, but it's not a go-to for me. So I'm gonna go with an 8.6.
Okay.
8.6. All right. For me, own it. Great movie. A lot of different nitpicky and inconsistencies, but all in all, I think it's a 9.4. I'd put it at a 9.4. I think there's obviously room for improvement, but
I just want to say,
great flick.
I want to like this movie more than I do. I just can't get there.
You can't. Okay, you can't mentally make that jump. I get it.
I don't. Like, it has all the elements you think that I would love in a movie, and especially Scorsese and Leo and Matt Damon and
Right.
all these people. But I think I don't like the story as much, I guess. And not that every movie has to have narration, but I think it could benefit in this movie having the dual perspectives like they do in Goodfellas with Karen and Henry, maybe with Matt Damon and Leo, where they're both telling
That's
their
fair.
side of it. I think for me personally, I think it would make me enjoy the movie maybe a little more and make things a little clearer plot-wise. And then also, the accent thing we talked about kind of also takes me out of it sometimes.
A little bit.
I would say.
We got one more in the chamber, though. Who's our last pick for
That's me.
Woj bomb.
Woj bomb. It's kind of I've been going back and forth with this all day.
First
What
guess,
are you
best
leaning
guess,
towards,
yeah.
Woj?
Well, this is what I will say.
Why don't you give us your
Um,
conundrum?
I mean, I think I know what I'm going to do. So, because, again, Scorsese is great, we're definitely going to hit at least the other couple ones that are here. You know me, I'm a Casino guy. I love the movie. I am going to opt, though, to probably do that at a later date because Goodfellas to Casino, it's just a lot of similarities in terms of the,
You're right.
the time period. Not necessarily
You can't
time
have
period,
chocolate
but
cake and follow it up with chocolate cake. I get it.
it's just more of like it's a lot of the same players, a lot of a similar mafia gangster kind of
It's
background.
interesting to compare them.
It's definitely different, but I think Casino will be something that we kind of get into a little bit later. I'll definitely do it at some point here. I am gonna throw a little bit of curveball. Okay, so
Hugo?
Shutter Island.
Oh, I love Shutter Island.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Curveball for me.
Hugo's good too.
In just that, Shutter Island is one of these movies that I thoroughly enjoy, but I don't like. It's one of those movies that like I don't go back to all the time. So every time I watch it, I'm like, oh fuck it, I love this movie. This
There's
is
a
why I
little
love
bit
it.
more to get
Yeah.
on each one of them. Yeah.
It's just like you forget certain parts of it, and then you're like, oh shit, I
Right.
forgot about that.
Love Shutter Island.
So Shutter Island, that's the one that I'm gonna do.
Great choice.
And again, I'm not really like it's not really a I wouldn't put it as a horror, but it's definitely like a thriller
It's a thriller. Yeah.
drama type of shit. So
It's
that's definitely right up my
It's
alley.
like a
with that.
mysterious,
Is that a genre film?
kind of like mystery. Yeah, like
mystery thriller.
like a mystery
It's
thriller, like a psychological.
Are you guys bullshitting me? Mystery is a type of
Oh, why
film
not? It's
genre?
a
Why
type
not?
of, type
I
of
don't
book.
know.
Why can't it be a type of a movie?
Yeah, like Scooby Doo. No.
like Encyclopedia Brown.
But those are books, not a
I'm saying, but
movie.
movies and books you can interchange with comparing.
Mystery. You know
All right,
what? That's
give me
a category.
another example of a
Clue.
mystery movie.
Sherlock Holmes.
Just
That's
gave you
mystery.
Each. Yeah, that's mystery.
detective.
Fucking, it's based on a board game.
Who
What the
cares?
fuck are you
It's
talking
still a
about?
mystery.
7.
Okay. Okay. So
Look at
it's
this prick.
thriller adjacent. I'm just saying, Bobby.
Well,
I was
'cause
trying to say, give me something
like-
else besides something based on a book or a.
I would
Okay, Usual Suspects.
The only thing that would make me
Okay, mystery. Okay, I like that.
Like it's a thriller, but it's not a thriller because thriller to me implies like a faster pace
Okay.
and more of like a.
So mysteries are slow burn thrillers.
That would be
Essentially,
That would be
yes.
good. Yes,
That's
that
a
would,
good- that's a
yes,
good way of putting
I
it,
would
yes.
agree with
I
that.
am a genius.
Yeah.
And of course, this happens at 1:57. Nobody's fucking
Yeah,
watching
no,
this.
yeah. Everyone's
God
already
damn
chimed
it.
out like an hour ago.
It's all good. No, there's a great review though. The Departed is always a fucking
The
solid.
Departed.
We got the last.
You know, hey, Shakespeare.
There you go. The last of the Scorsese though will be Shutter Island. Then we'll kind of mix it up. We got the football season is over, so I mean we're gonna kind of chop it up, see what we got coming through. Maybe we bring back some album reviews.
Yeah.
I enjoyed our album reviews.
So we'll see what's got left in the tank. But I do vow to get out more Instagram videos.
Good things.
We're
Good
gonna
things.
Going to be cycling a lot of those out, a lot of clips from the shows, podcasts, a lot of video game clips and shit. So keep it tuned, keep it tight, and it's all right.
Oh my God.
We talking to a lady or we?
I'm talking
I
about
love it. No, clip
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome.
Perfect.
That's
Great
good.
exit.
I'm
Great
just-
exit.
I'm
That's
just-
why he's the captain.
Yeah, you cut that right there. You were
just
perfect.
talking about, All right. We lost it.
No, you just cut it where you said it. That was
What
perfect.
is
Perfect.
going
Editing.
on
We'll catch
up
it in
here?
editing.
This is like bonus material.
God,
All right.
stretch
Peace out.